Boston Red Sox baseball. Today, Game 2 of a 4-game series between the Red Sox and the Seattle Mariners. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us as the Red Sox try to get back on the winning track in Game 2 of this road trip. Last night, they lost in controversial fashion by a score of 2-1. If you weren't up late with us, we'll show you what happened. The Red Sox were ahead 1-0 in the 7th inning. Runners at first and third. Tom Lampkin hit a tailor-made double play ball, but Nomar's throw was high. Mike Stanley appeared to tag Lampkin before the bag, but Brian O'Nora, the first base umpire, called Lampkin safe. As a result, the tying run scored. Dan Wilson across the plate to make it 1-1. Stanley and Jimmy Williams argued for quite a while to no avail. Then in the 8th inning, Damon Buford trying to earn his way on with a bunt. Jamie Moyer off the mound. He throws to first. Buford's foot on the bag. The ball still not in the glove of the first baseman. But Damon Buford was called out, and he immediately protested, was immediately ejected by Brian O'Nora. Dave Joust, the first base coach, also thrown out very quickly. And soon thereafter, Jimmy Williams came out to join the argument. Williams rarely gets involved in heated protests with the umpires, but he had seen enough of Brian O'Nora, and he wound up getting the gate as well. So the Red Sox had 3 ejections and wound up losing the ball game when the Mariners scored a non-controversial run in the 9th. I'm joined as always by Jerry Remy. So Jerry, a very upsetting start to this road trip for the Red Sox, but they have the right man on the mound today perhaps to restore order.
Pedro Martinez, and that's the right guy to have on the mound, especially after a game like last night. Pedro will pitch 3 times on this current road trip for the Red Sox today. He'll pitch against the Yankees and also on Cleveland, and they need him at the top of his game. Now, September has not been a good month for Pedro. It seems like he is worn down in his career. 7-10, 3.35 throughout his major league career. But one difference this year, look at the innings pitched in 99 as opposed to 98. 171 in the 3rd innings this year, which should make him stronger. Maybe that time on the disabled list will certainly help him, and has been evident in his last couple of outings because he's been very strong. So Pedro today will have that umpire Brian O'Nora behind the plate. We'll see if that makes any difference at all.
Jimmy Williams says he expects no lingering after effects with the umpiring crew today. Today, Pedro Martinez trying to become the first 20-game winner in the major leagues this season. He'll be opposed by Paul Abbott, who's a perfect 4-0 here at Safeco Field. We'll have the first pitch from Seattle near the shores of the Puget Sound right after this. Boston Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by your New England Ford dealer. Stop by your New England Ford dealer for savings on great new Ford cars and trucks. And by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. Another sellout crowd filing into beautiful new Safeco Field. And Jerry, this, at least heading into it, seems to be one of the most important games of the year for the Red Sox. They're starting this critical road trip. Heartbreaking, controversial loss last night. Should they lose today with Pedro going, sometimes it can become a snowballing effect.
We talked a little bit about it, Sean, before we left on this current road trip. The fact that the Red Sox desperately have to get off to a good start because things seem to snowball when you're on the road, whether it be winning or, in the other case, after a game like last night, having a carryover effect. You've got the best pitcher in the league going today for you in Pedro Martinez, and it's a game certainly you expect to win. You expect to win at least 3 on this road trip because he's starting 3 games, this one and 1 against the Yankees and, of course, 1 against Cleveland. But you're right, this is a very big game for this club because emotionally last night that was a very, very difficult loss to take, and they've got to bounce back right away.
First pitch scheduled for 1:05 local time, but so far we haven't even seen the umpires on the field yet. And we're not quite certain what the reason for the delay is. But as we wait for the umpires, we'll check the wild card standings. The Oakland Athletics were victorious last night at home against the Detroit Tigers by a score of 7-4. Kevin Apier earned the victory. So the Red Sox lead now 1 game over Oakland. They have 2 games upcoming in the middle of the week at the Alameda County Coliseum. At least the ballpark formerly known as the Alameda County Coliseum. And Toronto also picked up a game last night, as did the Mariners. And as we talked about last night, Seattle believes, for the sweep of this series, it could be right back into the wild card picture. The umpires are out at home plate, and they're all smiles right now. Grady Little out there representing the Red Sox. Ordinarily he does bring out the lineup card. Steve Smith, the third base coach for the Mariners, out for Seattle. Brian O'Nora, the man at the center of the controversy last night, will call the balls and strikes. Dale Scott, Bill Miller, and Al Clark around the bases. Jimmy Williams said before the game today he thinks Brian O'Nora is a fine umpire and a very hard-working umpire. And when asked about the calls last night, he said, well, you guys saw the replays. You reach your own conclusions.
He just had a bad night. There's no question about that. He missed a number of calls. We had 2 of them, and Red Sox feel he missed about 4 calls in that game. This is a good guy to have out here right now, Grady Little, because we all know Grady, what kind of personality he has. And right now he's loosening up both Al Clark and O'Nora, trying to get things back working on the Red Sox side. Because remember last night also, when the game was over, these umpires exit the ballpark very close to that Red Sox bench, and there was a lot of back and forth going on between players and umpires. So Little's out there right now trying to smooth things over and get these guys back focused on the game today and not what happened last night.
And several Red Sox were upset not only about what happened with Brian O'Nora, but they felt that Al Clark intentionally bumped Jimmy Williams several times as Jimmy was heading off the field after being ejected, and that Al really thrust himself into the middle of the situation physically. Al's proud of his hairdo. You got to give him credit for a good look there.
Yeah, Al Clark last night, instead of letting Jimmy get his money's worth when he got thrown out, tried to rush things up. And I made the point last night, if that was Piniella, they'd let him put on a big show here at home before letting him leave. So you've got to be even-handed for both sides.
Yeah, Lou would have had a chance to kick the dirt and throw his hat and pick up the base and throw it down the line and kick some more dirt. But with Jimmy, they wanted him off the field quickly. Starting lineups brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Here's the lineup the Red Sox will send. Paul Abbott. Jose Offerman, the second baseman, leads off. Darren Lewis is the center fielder. Batting third, the first baseman, Brian Daubach. Omar Garcia Parra riding a 6-game hitting streak, the cleanup hitter and shortstop. Troy O'Leary in left field. Butch Husky is the starting DH today. Jason Varitek, the catcher, will bat 7. Wilton Veras is the third baseman and batting 9th. The right fielder, Trot Nixon.
A couple of changes in the defense today for the Mariners. Bornagol will be at third base as Davis gets the day off. Alex Rodriguez at shortstop, David Bell at second, and Raul Lavagna is the first baseman. Same outfield, and Hunter Griffey and Buna. Tom Lampkin gets a start behind the plate in place of last night's hero, Dan Wilson. And Paul Abbott gets the start. It has been basically 2 years of frustration for Abbott. He last year had a shoulder surgery that kept him out just about all season. And this year in winter ball, he had a ligament tear in his knee. And it took till the beginning of this year to get that thing back healthy. But since being in the starting rotation, he's done a great job for the Mariners. Very impressive numbers, 54 strikeouts and 52 innings, and opponents only hitting 188 against Abbott.
Yeah, they faced Jamie Moyer, pitched very well last night, and the Red Sox will face another pitcher who's worked very well lately, Abbott, today. And of course, the Red Sox are countering with their ace, Pedro Martinez, trying to become the major's first 20-game winner this year. And the Red Sox try to ready to lead off. Jose hitting .291, 6 homers and 58 runs batted in. First pitch of this very important ball game, right down the middle, called strike 1. .64 degrees, a little bit on the cool side today in the Pacific Northwest. Hoffman sends it out of play to the right. There are some clouds overhead. They're not anticipating rain here, and the roof is open. And another big crowd on hand. We had 44,000, a sellout last night. And they expect the same today. Good off-speed pitch. Offerman fooled. And Abbott strikes out Jose on 3 pitches.
We are told that the best pitch for Abbott is this changeup, and you'll see it here against Jose Offerman to pick up the strikeout. He throws the fastball changeup. Changeup probably his second best pitch with the fastball about 90-91, also a slider. But that's a good pitch there to get Offerman.
1 out, and the batter is Darren Lewis. He takes the ball just a little bit low and away. Darren at .254, 2 homers and 33 runs batted in. Right back here, just off to our left. Lewis in a slump, 2 for his last 25. Abbott working quickly. Lewis fouls it off. Darren was 0 for 4 last night.
Abbott has had major league time with the Twins in Cleveland, but spent an awful lot of time in the minor leagues. Being picked up by Seattle as a minor league free agent. Of course, then the injuries happened for him.
He'll turn 32 later this month. Ball down and in. Broke into the major leagues in 1990 with Minnesota. He's never had a full season in the majors. Parts of 90, 91, and 92 with Minnesota. Part of the 93 season in the majors with Cleveland. Then spent all of 94, 5, 6, and 7 in the minors. He's gone to a full count with Lewis. Abbott's a native Californian. Lives in Fullerton, California now, right near Anaheim Stadium. 6'3", 195 pounds. Another foul ball back in our direction, and still a full count on Lewis. Red Sox lead the season series with Seattle 4-3. Last night's game, the first played in Seattle this year. Strike 3 on the inside corner. Lewis started the first. Abbott got the call. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the afternoon for Abbott.
Well, the first strikeout to Offerman. The changeup. It'll be the fastball on the inside corner to Darren Lewis. Now the catcher is set up outside. That fastball back inside, and looks like a very good pitch, and back-to-back strikeouts.
We mentioned last night, Brian O'Nora, as a home plate umpire, does have the reputation for having a big strike zone, favorable to the pitchers. There's nothing wrong with that in this day and age, where most strike zones are microscopic. Ball up and away to Brian Daubach. Red Sox could really use Daubach's production on this trip. He's cooled off considerably of late, down to 313, and he wasn't close with that swing. Brian did not play last night. He has feasted on Mariner pitching this year in 5 games, all at Fenway, a .632 average, including 2 homers and 12 runs batted in. And Abbott's 1 strike away from striking out the side.
The first 2 pitches, change-ups, and it looks like you could almost tell Daubach that change-up's coming. He's not going to hit it.
Red Sox offense struggling in the losses in the last 2 games. 1 run last night, 2 runs in the loss to Kansas City at Fenway Thursday. Abbott missed up and away. 2-2. Mariners have won 5 straight. Abbott's 2-2 pitch is low. They appeal, and Al Clark said it wasn't a swing. So another full count. We're told the ball carries better in this ballpark during the day. Last night, ball clearly did not carry very well. And a 1-2-3 first as Abbott strikes out the side. Daubach down swinging. After a half inning, the Red Sox nothing, and the Mariners coming up. Struck out the side in the top of the first. Well, the Mariners are ready to come to bat against Pedro Martinez in the bottom half. And the Mariner lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Seattle looking for its 6th straight win. Brian Hunter, the left fielder, will lead off. Raul Ibanez is the first baseman, batting third. Ken Griffey Jr., the center fielder. The cleanup hitter is the shortstop, Alex Rodriguez. Edgar Martinez, the DH, has put together a 6-game hitting streak. Jay Buhner, the right fielder, bats 6th. The number 7 hitter, the catcher, Tom Lampkin. David Bell is the second baseman, and Rafael Bornegal, the third baseman, will bat 9th.
Defense this afternoon for the Red Sox in the outfield. Troy O'Leary, Darren Lewis, and Trot Nixon. Wilton Burris, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Jose Offerman, and Daubach in the infield. Jason Veritek behind the plate, and on the mound looking for win number 20 on the season, Pedro Martinez. He is 2-0 this year against the Mariners, and of course one of those wins coming in that relief appearance on late gate when Pedro was a little bit late getting to the ballpark.
He was plenty early today. I was in the clubhouse when he arrived, at least an hour and a half before game time. He actually was watching the Boston College football game on TV and cheering for the Eagles.
Pedro still is leading the league in ERA. The only guy under 3 in the American League. David Cohn at 3.03 and Pedro first 2.36.
Barris in on the grass at third. Pedro throws a fastball for a strike to Brian Hunter. The left fielder hitting .243, 4 homers and 32 runs batted in. And a strike on the outside corner. And if Pedro gets that call all day long, it's going to be that much tougher for the Mariner hitters. Hunter 5 for 30 lifetime against Martinez. Nothing but strikeouts in this ball game. Abbott struck out the side in the top of the inning, and Pedro blows away Hunter on 3 pitches to start the bottom of the first.
Just stayed outside against Brian Hunter, all with fastballs. That ball just off the outside edge, but Hunter with the swing and miss. He has struck out 74 times now on the season. Kind of a high number for a leadoff hitter.
Well, tough to use that speed when you don't get on base regularly. Here's Raul Ibanez, one of the few hitters who made regular solid contact last night as he went 2 for 4, raising his average to .259. 5 homers and 21 runs batted in. Fouled out at play to the left. Speaking of the BC football team, congratulations to Coach Tom O'Brien, his staff, and the players. A very exciting overtime win in the opener at Alumni Stadium today against Baylor. The Eagles won 30-29 when Baylor missed an extra point in overtime. Fastball 95 miles per hour. No contest there. 0-2.
We were lucky, Sean. We got to watch quite a bit of the game right here in the booth.
Yes. Pedro visited the BC campus, he told me before the game today, about 3 weeks ago, and met some of the football players. He hopes to go to a game sometime this fall over at the Heights. Grounded up the middle. Offerman backhands. Can he get it up on the throw? No. Another close play at first. And Ibanez is safe. No argument this time from the Red Sox.
Ibanez has been a tough out for the Red Sox in this series. 2 for 4 last night. Nice play by Offerman going to the backhand, but very difficult to get much on this throw. He's back almost to center field area, and then the one hop to first base and Daubach, but Ibanez clearly beats it out. There have been plenty of close plays at first base.
And this was the right call. Hoffman just couldn't set himself quickly enough after making the nice pickup. So a 1-out base runner for the Mariners on an infield hit. And they had plenty of good fortune last night when it came to bloop hits and little rollers. Pedro Martinez had 2 infield hits last night. He said he could never recall having 2 infield hits in a game, even in Little League. Ken Griffey Jr. had a little squibber for a hit last night at the end of the bat. He lines that one just foul and left. The Red Sox shifted around to the infield with Griffey up there, but not as dramatically as they were last night, because there's a runner at first base. Griffey flirting with the 300 mark and still tied with Rafael Palmeiro for the league lead in home runs with 41 apiece. Griffey is 4th in runs batted in the AL with 114, way behind the league leader Manny Ramirez at 139. They hold Ibanez at first, and Griffey has to skip out of the way of the inside fastball. No hits for Jr. 9 at bats against Pedro. 4 strikeouts. No score, bottom of the first. 1-out base runner for the Mariners. Pedro held the ball a long time, and Griffey asked out. Griffey's been stuck on 41 homers for quite a while. Hasn't hit a home run since August 24th against Detroit, when he hit 2 in the game against Willie Blair. Pop up left side, playable for Veras near the line. Foul ground, he made the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. The Red Sox pitchers to this point have done a good job in the series keeping Griffey in check. He's only had the ball out of the infield once.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job, Sean, this whole year dealing with Ken Griffey.
Two outs, and here comes Alex Rodriguez. They did a good job with him last night, too, as he went 0 for 4, dropping his average to .309. 35 homers, 94 runs batted in 101 games. Ibanez back safely. Comparison of A-Rod and Garcia-Parra when batting cleanup. As both are today.
It's amazing. And Nomar started his career as what, a leadoff hitter for the Red Sox, and A-Rod pretty much a number 2 hitter in the lineup for the Mariners, and both guys now in that cleanup position.
Big hole on the right side of the infield for Rodriguez. He took the breaking ball for a strike. See Offerman playing way up the middle, with Daubach holding Ibanez. A big hole on that right side. The outfield shifted around toward right for Rodriguez. The 1-1 offering. Swing and a miss. Ibanez is running. The pitch is a ball. The throw is late. And Ibanez has the stolen base. His 5th of the year without being caught.
And because he was running, that may have cost the Red Sox the call. Looked like a pretty good pitch on the curveball. But Veritek quickly out of his crouch may have blocked the umpire. And Ibanez gets himself in a scoring position here with 2 outs.
He's perfect in stolen bases. The 2-2. He struck him out. Pitch low and away. Breaking ball from Pedro. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 5 in the first inning for the 2 pitchers combined. After 1, no score.
Got an old buddy waiting for a visit in Washington? With everyday low fares on Southwest Airlines, flying the BWI is your best route to the capital.
You are now free to move about the country.
You know the feeling of driving a new car. Celebrate that feeling during the Ford Authorized Clearance. As low as 0.9% APR for 36 months, or up to $2,000 cash back on Contour, Escort, and ZX2. $1,000 cash back plus 0.9 on Taurus. Either way, it's practically in your driveway. That new car feeling is closer than you think during the Ford Authorized Clearance at your New England Ford dealer.
When the male is in pursuit of the female, the slightest scent of unpleasantness may send the female running. Thus, Right Guard Clear Gel or Clear Stick. Powerful protection from odor and wetness that glides on clear. Right Guard. Anything less would be uncivilized.
All the wines of Italy. Okana.
Back at Safeco Field, no score after 1 inning. The Mariners and Red Sox. Well, fans of all ages should come to friendly Fenway September 24th and 25th for the 1999 Coca-Cola Fan Appreciation Days. All fans entering Fenway Park receive a 12-month calendar with games scheduled for the year 2000, and additional prizes will be awarded to lucky fans each day, compliments of Coca-Cola. Tickets can be purchased at the Red Sox ticket office or by calling 617-482-4SOX for 24-hour touch-tone ticketing.
Nomar Garcia-Parra will begin the 2nd. Paul Abbott struck out the side of the 1st. Nomar provided the Red Sox with their only run in last night's game when he homered Line drive homer down the left field line. That came in the 7th inning. Gave the Red Sox a brief lead. Nomar's first homer in more than a month, since August 2nd. Fouls the first one from Abbott back to the screen. Garcia-Parra at 349, now tied for the league lead in hitting with Derek Jeter. The two of them are 6 points ahead of Bernie Williams starting today. The Yankees are in Anaheim today. Nomar pops that one up very high along the first baseline. Banya's in the foul ground to make the catch. 4 up and 4 down for the Red Sox. Batting fifth, left fielder for 25, Troy O'Leary.
We're talking to some of the players today, Sean, about the conditions of the field, and they say it's an excellent playing field, except that some of the turf hasn't appeared to settle yet in the outfield. They say a lot of times they're out there, you take a step and you kick up a divot. It's almost like it's laid on top of sand.
Troy O'Leary takes a strike. Roy's numbers have tailed off a little bit here in the second half. He's had a very streaky second half. But the fall off hasn't been as dramatic as it was last year. 25 homers, 89 runs batted in for O'Leary. Chased a bad pitch. Down and in. Troy has just 2 extra base hits since August 15th. A homer and a double. That's a span of 60 at bats. He goes down swinging. 4 strikeouts for Abbott.
Now this could be a huge strikeout game for both pitchers. Left-handers are having an awful difficult time against that changeup from Abbott. Now that one was over the heart of the plate, but still off speed enough to fool O'Leary.
Two outs, bases empty, second inning. No score. Butch Husky the batter. Ball 1 up and in. Butch 0 for 3 last night. His average now 293 with 19 homers and 68 runs batted in. He's at 4 homers and has driven in 19 runs for the Red Sox in 27 games, 79 at bats with Boston. Ball and a strike now after the swing and miss by Husky. Two and one now. Ball down and in. Now the 3-1 pitch. Fouled back to the screen. It's a full count, so Abbott 1 strike away from another strikeout. Husky trying to extend the inning for Jason Varitek. Swing and a miss. Very impressive start for Paul Abbott. He has pitched 2 perfect innings and has fanned 5 of the 6 Red Sox hitters. You're watching Red Sox baseball on the JCS New England Television Network.
The Red Sox meet the New York Yankees in New York. Friday night at 7:30 on WVGR TV, Bangor.
Hi, I'm Dave Kozel. In today's world, you need a computer. Here at Pine Tree Computers, we offer full internet-ready systems warranted starting at $400, right down to CD-ROMs starting at $20, or anything in between. You can always find what you're looking for here at Pine Tree Computers. For a quote on your system, give us a call at 667-1297 or visit our website at escrap.com/Pinetree. We're located on the Washington Junction Road in Ellsworth.
Hi, I'm Paul Booker, president of the Maine Internetworks. As we continue to grow and expand, I'd like to take the time to thank all of our dedicated employees and customers who have made this growth possible. As a traditional Maine family business, I'd also like to extend to you a personal invitation to join our growing family at Mint. Thanks.
towing can be a hassle, but not with Union Street Sitco. Our team is on the road 24 hours a day providing towing and off-road services. And we are a AAA service center. It's fast, it's easy, and we'll help you through every step of the way from roadside recovery to maintenance. We'll even get this guy to fill you up. The right choice is
Union Street Sitco. The right choice is 9428663.
Now 2 Mariners in the first. On the scoreboard, Baltimore defeated Cleveland today 3-1. The White Sox lead Texas 10-3 in the 9th. In Arlington, Detroit has a 1-0 lead over Oakland in the 2nd. In New York, a 4-0 advantage in Anaheim in the first. Angels now being managed on an interim basis by former bench coach Joe Madden after Terry Collins stepped down yesterday. Edgar Martinez fooled by the breaking ball, and he took strike 1. He's very much in the race for the batting title. 339 now. 21 homers and 78 runs batted in. Edgar 4th in the league in hitting, 10 points behind the co-leaders. Brian Mulder, Tim Hudson, the pitching matchup today in Oakland. So the A's have the man who's been their best starting pitcher on the mound. Mulder's capable of spinning a beauty, in the words of former Red Sox manager Joe Morgan. Toronto at Kansas City tonight with Pat Henkin against Jeff Suppan. Yankees have Hideki Arabu on the mound today against Ramon Ortiz in Anaheim. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Pedro will face Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner, and Tom Lemkin here in the 2nd. Check swing. Pitch looked pretty good anyway. Wasn't a swing. What was wrong with the pitch? Perhaps just a little bit low and away. Now the payoff pitch. Fisted foul to the right.
Red Sox got a little good news, Sean, with Saberhagen this morning.
Yeah, talk with Brett after he threw this morning. Said he felt much better throwing today. His shoulder loosened up, something it did not do at all when he tried to throw the other day at Fenway Park. Threw off the mound, threw all of his pitches. That's a swing and a miss. And Pedro Martinez strikes out Edgar Martinez. And Pedro has 3 strikeouts.
Changeup from Martinez to Martinez. Right-handers don't see many changeups, especially on the 3-2 count. But Pedro will throw that pitch at any time to any hitter.
Saberhagen said the only discomfort he had at all throwing today was when he threw his changeup, because he tends to turn that pitch over a little bit, and that caused a little bit of that pinching or biting sensation, as he described it, in the top of his shoulder, where he's had the stiffness and soreness. Jay Buhner, the right fielder, is the batter. 234 for Buhner, 13 homers and 33 runs batted in. And Saberhagen said the last time he tried to throw, he had a lot of pain, aches, biting sensation the whole time. Today, very little of that. He's going to throw again on Wednesday, and Brett said if he feels that way again, or even feels a little bit better if he continues to progress, he thinks he could pitch in a game. But he also said he doesn't want to pitch in a game unless he believes he can go out there, pitch as effectively as he can, and help the team win. He said, I don't want to go out there if I know I'm only going to be so-so and hurt our team's chances of winning, because it's too important right now. Strike 3. Buhner called out.
Now, this has been ugly so far for both offense in this ball game. Abbott doing a great job with 5 strikeouts already against Red Sox hitters, and Pedro now picking up his 4th strikeout, again that curveball outside corner. Could be a long afternoon for hitters again.
Yes. Pedro's fan 3 in a row. Got Alex Rodriguez to end the first, Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner here in the second. He'll try to match Abbott's total of 5 strikeouts in 2 innings if he can fan Tom Lampkin. Lampkin takes a strike, giving Dan Wilson the day off, at least out of the starting role. And Lampkin, when called upon, has been a very capable backup behind the plate. And offensively, he's chipped in with a healthy .314 average. Of course, he was at the center of the controversy last night. He hit that perfect double play ball to Jose Offerman in the 7th inning. Wound up being safe at first on the controversial call on the errant throw from Garcia Parra.
I felt like Piniella was doing the Red Sox a favor by sending up Lampkin, because he hit for Brian Hunter, and of course Hunter has great speed.
Right.
And there's little chance you'd double up Brian Hunter on any kind of ground ball. And that was just a perfect double play ball that was hit to Offerman, and of course the bad throw and the bad call.
Breaking ball very close. Almost strike 3. 2-2 now. As we said last night, if Nomar makes a good throw, as he should have, there's no debate about the play at first base. Little roller off the end of the bat. That one goes foul. Last night we saw the ball hit by Edgar Martinez that went straight as a string right down the line. Never moved one direction or the other, rolling as if it was going across a pool table.
Now this one got a little bit of the grass and then kicked off that lip of the grass right there. And that's going to push it into foul territory. The one Martinez hit last night never did get on grass. It was always between that white line and the grass, and it just stayed fair. Also get the sense, too, Sean, that I don't think we're going to see Ramon Martinez make another start for the Red Sox. It doesn't appear like that's going to happen.
No, Jimmy said before the game today that that probably would not happen. Did not preclude the possibility of Ramon pitching again, but he's not going to at least pitch in rotation the next time around. Breaking ball down and in. Pedro wanted an appeal. Al Clark said no swing, and it's a full count on Lampkin. Jimmy announced before the game today that Tim Wakefield will get the start Tuesday night in the first game of that 2-game series in Oakland. Line foul. Martinez again trying to strike out the side here in the second. Lampkin reaches David Bell, would hit next. 3-2 pitch. Fastball. Pedro wants to know what was wrong with that one.
You can see Pedro reacting to Brian O'Nora behind the plate. He thought he had that fastball on the inside corner, and as you mentioned earlier, O'Nora generally has a very good strike zone for pitchers.
Well, he threw 2 pitches to Lampkin after he had 2 strikes that either one of them could have been called strikes and were not. The first walk given up by Martinez. The Mariners have their second base runner of the ball game, and the batter is the second baseman David Bell. Fastball outside. Bell hitting .263, 17 homers and 64 runs batted in. You almost wonder psychologically what's in Brian O'Nora's mind today. You know, is he trying to prove I don't feel like I owe you guys anything? So you wonder if that factors in on the close calls.
Well, supposedly they're supposed to come out and let everything go by, but as I can speak from experience that it doesn't always happen that way.
There are guys who hold grudges, sometimes for years. And there are players and managers who do the same thing in reverse toward certain umpires. Ball up and in. 2-0. Pedro wants a new ball from O'Nora. No score, bottom of the second. Second game of a 4-game series. Second game of a critical 12-game road trip for the Red Sox. They'll take them to Oakland, New York, and Cleveland after this stop in Seattle. The runner goes, and the pitch fouled away to the right.
Strange time to send that runner on the 2-0 count. A lot of times managers will leave that particular count for the hitter, and does not want any distractions at all. That's certainly the hitter's count. 2-0. Lampkin does not have great speed. He has not had a steal on the season and caught a couple of times.
Lamkin runs again. The pitch is strike. Varitek's throw. Got him. And that ends the inning. Good throw by Varitek. And after 2 in Seattle, there is no score.
When you drive a Ford truck, you're ready for whatever the world brings on. Now you can celebrate that feeling of confidence during the Ford Authorized Clearance. We're moving out the 99s to make room for the 2000s. With financing as low as 0.9 for 36 months and up to $1,000 cash back on your favorite pickups.
I just want to celebrate.
Celebrate the thrill of a new Ford truck. Now during the Ford Authorized Clearance at your New England Ford dealer.
Like Fenway, you'll love the new ballpark. Same field, same dimensions, same wall. Seats just as close to the field, not the fan next to you. Modern restrooms and concessions will create a more family-friendly experience. Wider aisles and concourses and new garages will make getting in and out a lot easier. 10,000 more seats, and the only pole is Pesky's. The Sox will be right here for another century. And remember, every time we build a new ballpark, the Red Sox win the World Series.
To develop the most advanced Bengay ever, we combined 3 pain relievers for the first Trigesic formula. Ultra Strength Bengay. It heats, penetrates, relieves to help set you free. Ultra Strength Bengay.
Need new struts? Come to Midas. Get a genuine Midas Gold strut with R2 technology for only $59.95 with a lifetime guarantee. Go safely. Go Midas.
Boston Red Sox baseball is being brought to you in part by your New England Ford dealer. Stop by your New England Ford dealer for savings on great new Ford cars and trucks.
And back inside Safeco Field, another afternoon of very little offense. As there is no score as we move to the top of the third. Well, baseball fans, don't miss your chance to visit the traveling Babe Ruth Museum when it comes to Fenway Park on September 21st and 22nd when the Red Sox play host to the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series. For tickets, call 617-482-4SOX.
Red Sox just trying to make contact as they come to the plate in the third. This is the last play of the second. Contact made by Offerman on the tag of Lamkin. A good throw by Varitek to end the inning.
Picked the changeup to try to run on, and as we mentioned, Lamkin not with great speed. Varitek with an excellent throw. Varitek now has thrown out about 29% of the runners going against him this year.
First pitch from Abbott off the end of the bat to center, and Varitek's out. 1 pitch and 1 out. Jason went to the plate hitting .264. His old school victorious today. Georgia Tech a winner on the gridiron against Navy today, 49-14. That'll make Jason, Nomar, a couple of happy campers. There's Wilton Barrios hitting .292. 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. And 48 at bats for the 21-year-old third baseman. 1 strike on Veras. Trot Nixon will bat next. Foul tip into the middle of Lampkin.
Pinella feels like he's got a starting rotation right now that he's very happy with and would be comfortable with going into next season. He'd like to add a couple of pitches to the bullpen, but with Abbott coming around and pitching well, it's been pretty solid rotation for him recently.
Well, the last 3 times around the rotation, Mariners starters are 12-4. An ERA of just over 3. They've certainly tried a lot of different people this year. Seattle's used 12 different starting pitchers. And they've used a total of 27 different pitchers this season. That's a club record. The major league record, the pitchers used by one team in a season, is 29 by Anaheim in 1996. Seattle's used 13 rookie pitchers. Abbott mowing down the Red Sox hitters. He has fanned 6. He's pitched 2 2/3 perfect innings.
Now, 2 starts ago, the last win that he had came against Cleveland, and in that ball game he had 12 strikeouts, and he is on his way today to topping that number. That's that changeup again of that right-handed hitter. Right-handers don't see much of that from right-handed pitches, and it's completely fooling them.
2 outs, bases empty. Said that a lot in this series when the Red Sox have been at the plate. Trot Nixon line went over the Red Sox dugout. Trott did not start last night, got in the ball game when Damon Buford was ejected. Nixon hitting .274. Takes the ball down and away. Mentioned college football. Trott almost went to NC State out of high school to be their quarterback on the football team. Instead signed with the Red Sox, the #1 pick. He lines that down the left field line. Foul. And the fan couldn't hang on. I asked Trott before the game last night if he still follows closely the fortunes of NC State. He said yes, as a matter of fact. He's a season ticket holder for Wolfpack football. Doesn't get to see all the games, obviously, because he's working this time of the year. Lives in the Charlotte area now. A couple of hours drive over to Raleigh to watch NC State. Two and two the count. Paul Abbott looking for strikeout number 7. He won't get it. Nixon hits a dribbler. David Bell slides in the outfield grass. Out at first. On another very close play. Terrific play by Bell. And Nixon with a look of disbelief on his face. We go to the home half of the third in a scoreless game in Seattle.
Bola wine of Italy. Open up.
Ask your doctor about Viagra. Premium cut lumber. Quality wood products with fewer gouges and knots, less bark, warping, and twisting. Other lumber doesn't stack up. Premium cut. Quality wood products. Only at the Home Depot.
Now at Pep Boys, get a great deal on Valvoline. Only 99 cents a quart. Save on Valvoline just 99 cents. And don't miss our 2 for $3 offer on any Purolator oil and air filter. Only at Pep Boys.
Cars like us. People love us. Back at Safeco Field, no score as we move to the bottom of the third inning. Well, Red Sox fans, the Toronto Blue Jays will be coming to town September 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Of course, the Blue Jays still in that wild card hunt with the Red Sox. There are plenty of great seats available. Tickets can be purchased at the Red Sox ticket office or by calling 617-482-4SOX for 24-hour touchstone ticket. That's 617-482-4SOX.
So it's the wild card hunt.
Nice play here by David Bell, expanding his range by getting out on an outfield grass and from his backside throwing Trot Nixon out at first base. Another close call, but another correct call by the umpire.
David Bell back at the plate. He was there when Lampton was thrown out trying to steal inning to second. Bell got off to an amazing start in terms of home runs. He was among the league leaders a couple of months into the season at 15 homers on June 12th. Has hit just 2 since. 17 homers, still the Mariners' single-season record for home runs by a second baseman. And he drills that to deep left. That ball is off the scoreboard. Played cleanly by O'Leary. His throw to second, not in time. Good strong throw by Troy on the fly to second base, but no chance to get Bell, who just missed hitting a home run.
That's that part of the ballpark we talked about last night where they have the auxiliary scoreboard that comes up just a bit higher than the regular fence, and it's a good thing for Pedro Martinez because that ball will hit right off the scoreboard. And David Bell in a second base with the double. He made a bid for his 18th of the season. He'll have to settle for the 2-base hit. A nice play by O'Leary, playing it off the wall, and then a strong throw to second base, but not in time.
Let's see how the Mariners play it against Pedro with the number 9 hitter. Not a good hitter, Rafael Bornegal at the plate. He turned a bunt. Not to tell what was wrong with that pitch. 3-0-4 for Bornegal in limited playing time. Just 79 at bats. He has sacrificed 3 times. Ferris on the grass, as is Daubach. No sign of a bunt, and there's a strike outside corner around the knees.
Well, the way these 2 pitches have started this game, you would think that managers would be playing for the 1 run early, because it may be 1 run in the whole ball game.
Yeah. Bell at second after leadoff double in a scoreless game in the 3rd. Bornegal squares the bunt, pushes it foul off first.
I got to tell you, the last week to 10 days, we've seen some horrible attempts at sacrificing. Yep. Now, Bornegal's a guy that really should be an excellent bunter, but you see how he drops back on his back leg, and then when he does that, the head of the bat drops low, and that's the reason it popped up in foul territory. That's just lousy fundamentals there. Maybe the curveball had something to do with it. He was backing out of the way because of the curveball.
Time requested by Bornegal right as Pedro started in the windup. Outfield around toward right, very shallow for the slap hitting Bornegal. A little roll in front of the plate. The runner is not trying to go to third, and Bornegal is out. Pedro threw him out for the first out of the inning.
It's hard to read when you're a runner on second base to see just exactly how far this ball is going to go, but I think if Bell had to do it over again, he may try to take third base, because I don't think Pedro had any intention of even looking in that direction to throw him out. Plus, it's the catcher that's going to let Pedro know what to do with the ball, so maybe Veritek just yelled first base, and he didn't even have to look at third.
Brian Hunter, the hitter, top of the order for the Mariners. Hunter up for the second time. He struck out swinging. Again, the Mariner first. Ball just low. Hunter styling a little bit with those sunglasses on a cloudy day. The lights are on here at Safeco Field. They got to stop that.
Well,
that's the second time Pedro's started into the windup, and Brian O'Nora's granted the hitter time.
Teams do this on purpose to Pedro. When he has a man on base, he takes a long time to get rid of that baseball. He'll hold the ball in that stretch position for a while, and the theory is, call timeout, get out of there, and try to break up his momentum.
Well, that's too late. Brian O'Nora ought to pay a little bit of attention to where Pedro is. I mean, he's starting into the windup here twice when time has been called. 1-1 the count. Now on Hunter.
Usually happens to Pedro 2 or 3 times, and then he'll buzz somebody up and in, and that's the last time you see it for a while.
That's up and in, and ball 2. A 264 average with runners in scoring position, better than Hunter's overall season average of 242. Hunter at the plate. Ibanez has been a tough out on deck. Line to right at Nixon. Bell goes back late to tag. He won't try to go to third. Well struck by Hunter, but an out. 2 down here in the 3rd inning.
Ball hit pretty well by Brian Hunter. Inside pitch and inside out swing to the opposite field, but right at Trot Nixon. And of course, this being the second out with Bell already in scoring position, he's not going to take any chances on advancing to third base. A couple of steps on the line drive, then he has to get back and tag up.
Here's Ibanez, who had an infield hit on a grounder up the middle. Stole second in the first inning. He was stranded there. No score in the third. The Red Sox have not had a base runner against Paul Abbott. Mariners got a leadoff double from David Bell here in the third. He's still at second base. Ibanez takes the ball inside. Jammed him. Ibanez checked the swing and fouled it into the Red Sox dugout.
Look at these dugouts here at Safeco Field. You see a lot of players that stand to see the game. When you get back down in those dugouts, it's hard to see the field.
Well, they're pretty deep. Bunch of real birds on both sides today. Up and in. Ibanez, 27 years old. Spent parts of the last 3 seasons in the majors with the Mariners, but also much of those seasons with their AAA club not far away in Tacoma. 2-1 pitch. Fouled out of play to the left. Veritek out to chat with Pedro about the upcoming 2-2 pitch. Let's pause for station identification. You're watching Red Sox baseball on the JCS New England Television Network. Sean McDonough with Jerry Remy at Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. Scoreless game in the third. The 2-2 pitch. Well, so much for Brian O'Nora having a wide strike zone for the pitchers.
Now that's about 2 or 3 already now. And here we go. We're getting some guff from the dugout.
On him now. Well, that looked like a friendly exchange. He might have just asked what was wrong with the pitch from the dugout. It's not going to stay friendly for long if this continues. On a breaking ball. Martinez stares in at O'Nora for several steps as he walks off. 5 strikeouts for Pedro in 3 innings. And after 3, it's a scoreless game.
Well, I never missed breakfast. No way. If you don't eat breakfast, then the bad germs come in. Well, if you don't eat lunch or dinner, it's okay. I met a scientist and he told me stuff.
We learned our philosophy in preschool, not business school. Hampton Inn.
If you eat a proper breakfast, you can frolic.
Used to be. If I want something done right, I called me. It worked. Until I tried to quit smoking. I needed more than me. I got Nicorette. Nicorette helped me 2 ways. I used it on a regular schedule to help prevent my cravings, and for unexpected cravings, I was ready with an extra piece. I used to be a slave to cigarettes. Nicorette helped me hang on, helped me win. Now that I'm nicotine-free, I gotta tell you, it feels good to win.
Now, Nicorette is available in mint. What a refreshing choice. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
We argue all the time as to who has the better lawn. They're all envious of my Scott lawn, definitely. Scott does it for all 3 of us.
Now, during the summer, my grass takes a beating. Heavy sun, drought. What the grass needs is turf builder.
About September, I put on a turf builder.
It pumps it up, it rejuvenates it,
Gives it that extra punch for the roots.
You gotta feed it.
It's beautiful lawn. Look at that. Look at it. Nice and green.
It's thick, flush. Fall is the best time of year to put down Scott's turf builder.
Back in Seattle, scoreless through 3 innings. The Red Sox have not had a base runner against Paul Abbott. 9 up and 9 down for the Red Sox with just 1 ball out of the infield. A fly ball by Jason Veritek to Ken Griffey Jr. in the third. Mariners 0 for 4 with men in scoring position. They've had 2 runners reach second base against Pedro Martinez. Pedro's fanned 5. Abbott has struck out 6. So they're at the top of the order again. Maybe it'll be a little bit better for the Red Sox the second time around. Offerman leads off. And he was fooled again by the changeup. 1 strike on Jose, who struck out swinging to start the ball game. Offerman, Lewis, and Daubach. A scheduled trio of Boston swingers here in the 4th. Bounce down to first. An easy play for Ibanez. Run out. Check the National League scores. Milwaukee beat St. Louis 4-2. Bill Pulsifer the winner. 4 and 5. Mark McGwire did not hit a home run. Los Angeles and the Cubs are scoreless in the 4th. That's Brown against Farnsworth. Houston's at Montreal tonight. San Diego at Florida. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. Cincinnati at Philadelphia. Arizona visits Atlanta and Colorado. Goes to lovely Shea Stadium. Fly ball deep down the left field line, but foul by Darren Lewis.
Mets now 4.5 games behind Atlanta in that National League East.
Yeah, they've fallen back. Atlanta's been red hot for quite a while now. The Braves with the best record in baseball at 86 and 50. Lewis called out on strikes his first time up. He takes a ball low. Good news for the Mets. They do lead the wild card race by 4 games over Cincinnati right now. Cincinnati starting to fall back. They've lost 7 of 10. They're 2.5 behind Houston in the NL Central. Foul ball. And a count of 1 and 2.
Right off the mask, it looked like for Tom Lampkin, and then back to the backstop.
A little roller down the first base line. A lot of spin on it. Ibanez feeds Abbott for the out. 2 outs here in the 4th.
It's a little scary here this afternoon. The Red Sox have not really hit a ball well so far off Abbott. Never mind all the strikeouts, but even the outs have not been good, solid outs. Right down that first base line, hugging the line, and Ibanez will feed Abbott, who's doing his job by getting over the cover first base, and a couple of quick outs.
11 up, 11 down against Paul Abbott. And the batter is Brian Daubach, who struck out swinging in the 1st. No score in the 4th. Pitchers duel last night, and this is shaping up as another. Chatting with Jimmy Williams before the game today, he agreed with what we were saying, that there were probably 4 or 5 balls hit last night that would have been home runs in the Kingdome next door that were not here. They were routine outs. So sometimes the pitcher's duel is aided by the fact that it's in the ballpark such as this, much bigger park where the ball doesn't carry as well.
This reminds me a little, Sean, dimensions of Turner Field in Atlanta, except the ball carries better in Atlanta.
Daubach hits that a mile high. And Ibanez caught it in front of the Seattle dugout. Ibanez with a couple of putouts and an assist in that inning. Involved in all 3 plays. You're watching Red Sox baseball on the JCS New England Television Network.
The Red Sox meet the New York Yankees in New York. Friday night at 7:30 on WBGR TV, Bangor.
Rhino Linings is more than just truck.
Are you looking for work? Call Kelly Services. We'll put you where you want to be in today's workforce. Full-time positions or temporary assignments with leading companies can give you the career you want. Word processors, secretaries, data entry operators, and receptionists work for Kelly every day, and so can you. Our light industrial workers are always in demand. Work as assemblers, packagers, and warehouse workers. Enjoy Kelly's benefits, including holiday, vacation pay, and bonuses. Call Kelly Services today.
Remember going to the lumberyard with Granddad? That wonderful aroma of wood filled the air. Racks of quality lumber and folks that knew what they were talking about. At Crescent Lumber and Stillwater Lumber, those values haven't changed.
Sure, we've kept up with the times with computer-assisted design services, the latest in building products, and engineered trusses direct from our own shop. But we haven't forgotten what you came here for either. Quality products, expert advice, and the best prices around. That's Crescent Lumber, Fowler Road, Orrington, and Stillwater Lumber, Bennick Road, Stillwater.
Off against Pedro Martinez. Pop-up by the mound. Veras didn't see it. Now it's Offerman making the catch and colliding gently with Veras. That was right at the mound. Pedro was hollering the whole time for somebody else to take it. Veras was his intended recipient, but I don't think Wilton saw this ball for a while.
I've always wondered why they just don't let the pitcher take this. I mean, they're capable of catching pop-ups. They do it all the time during batting practice. You got two players climbing the mound, which is very difficult. Your head starts bouncing around, and you'll see Offerman come in, call off right at the last moment, and take the catch.
Now Rodriguez lifts a fly to right. Nixon back on the edge of the warning track to make the catch. 2 pitches and 2 outs for Pedro here in the 4th. Still the scoreless game. Let's check the games involving the wild card contenders. Detroit and Oakland now tied at 1 in the bottom of the 4th. In Oakland, Dean Palmer has hit a home run for the Tiger run. His 31st of the year came off Tim Hudson. Brian Moeller on the mound for Detroit. Toronto at Kansas City tonight. Pat Henkin and Jeff Suppan will be the starters. Red Sox go 1-game lead over Oakland. We'll play in Oakland Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have Wednesday afternoon's game for you over these stations. That's our next telecast, Wednesday at 4. From Oakland, Edgar Martinez struck out swinging in the 2nd. 2 outs, bases empty, 4th inning. No score. Fastball miss. You see where Wade Boggs is done for the year. Torn meniscus cartilage in his right knee that will require surgery.
I wonder how long he had that injury while he was still getting base hits to get to the 3,000 hits. Not a major problem. He'll probably get that thing scoped, and within 6 weeks he'll be in pretty good shape. Obviously out for the remainder of this season, but he got to his 3,000 hits, and that's a good thing.
Now he can go home and practice willing himself invisible. Ball 4. Edgar Martinez walks on 4 pitches. The second walk given up by Pedro Martinez. Devil Rays did announce yesterday that Fred McGriff has signed a 2-year contract extension. He was scheduled to be a free agent at the end of the year, but they gave him a new 2-year deal. Terms not disclosed. Apparently he's very happy playing there at home, because there undoubtedly would have been some teams, the Mariners might have been one of them, interested in McGriff.
Now, it also may make it a little bit easier to deal him.
Yes.
They get him signed, and then, of course, I don't know if a no trade is part of that contract, but if not, you've got a guy signed, and when they're signed, it's a little bit easier to make a decent trade for him.
Jay Buhner, the batter. 1 strike the count. 2 strikes the count. Buhner was called out on strikes in the 2nd. Pedro has struck out 5 and walked 2. He's allowed 2 hits. Paul Abbott not allowed a base runner. He's pitched 4 perfect innings and has struck out 6 Red Sox.
Now again, Pedro upset.
Well, he should be. I mean, what's wrong with that pitch? As we said, this is a home plate umpire with a reputation of having a big strike zone. And you just wonder about his mindset coming into today after all the controversy last night. And that's the best way to do it. Throw some serious gas upstairs and say, see you later, Jay Buhner. 6 strikeouts for Pedro. After 4, no score.
Chevrolet cars are trusted by more Americans than any other. Chevy trucks are the most dependable, longest lasting on the road. If that's not enough reason to own a Chevrolet car or truck, then this definitely is. The great summer drive-in from Chevrolet. Lease a new 1999 four-wheel drive Chevy Silverado, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, for only $299 a month for 36 months. Call for important lease details. It's Chevrolet's great summer drive-in. See your local Chevrolet dealer today.
Fail. Waiting.
Dear Pete, I'd like to thank you for your understanding the other day, and I really appreciate you sticking up for me.
Come on, what are you swinging at? Yeah, like you can hit it.
It took real courage, especially since that kid was in the 9th grade. So again, thanks for your support. Sincerely, Nomar Garcia Parra. P.S. I hope the 8th inning homer helped.
Bola wine of Italy. Open up.
Took the family to see the 4 for $99 tire deal at Pep Boys.
Lucky you.
Found these 4 for $169.
Wow.
And these babies 4 for $199.
Now that's a vacation.
Pep Boys.
Cars like us.
People love us.
Boston Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. And if you jump in your Chevrolet, you can drive from Safeco Field to Mount Rainier in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And on a clear day here, Jerry, that is a very impressive sight.
Now, this is a beautiful place to fly into when the weather's nice. There's tremendous sights as you descend into Seattle.
All kinds of water. And that very, very impressive mountain. How high is Mount Rainier, do you know? The elevation? 14,000 feet, we're told from the truck. A number of times every season we say we're told by the truck indicates just how little we really know. Garcia Parra. 2-1 the count now. Of course, they also have a crew of technicians who live here locally, most of them, who help them with a lot of these matters, because they can communicate with those folks on the headset, and we cannot. So we're making, you know, Pat and Bob Whitelong, Greg Petronzi ought to be geniuses. We should mention they're very bright men, but they do have a lot of help.
They have a pretty good support system down there.
Yes, they do. But they'd be good on that show with Regis Philbin there, trying to win the $1 million.
I guess he got renewed.
Yeah. Nomar drives one to deep right center. Way back, and a leaping attempt by Buhner. Did he get it? No, it's a home run for Garcia Parra. The Red Sox first base runner touches all the bases. Nomar homers for the second time in as many games after going more than a month between home runs. And the Red Sox lead 1-0. All their scoring in this series, both runs have been on solo homers by Garcia Parra.
Opposite field power this time, and believe me, folks, you've got to crush the ball to get it out of this park, and especially to the opposite field. Jay Buhner going back, he'll take the leap, but just over the glove for the home run. Looked like one of the fans reached over and took it right in front of Jay Buhner, but of course he's behind that wall, so there's no fan interference.
Troy O'Leary, the batter. Well, that's a good omen, Jerry, for the Red Sox on this trip. The return of the long game from Nomar Garcia Parra. Gone a month between homers. He's hitting the ball hard. O'Leary hits a humpback liner over Bell's head, a base hit. So Abbott retired the first 12 Red Sox. And now back-to-back men have reached here to start the 5th inning.
One more look at Jay Buhner going back to the wall, and he'll go into the jump, and one of the fans will reach over that railing right there and make the catch. But they have that railing set back from the wall, so you don't have the interference like you could have at Yankee Stadium, for example.
I think that's a very nice design feature of this park. You know, in Baltimore, they don't have that. The fans, when players try to climb those short walls and left center, they reach over and interfere all the time. It's possible, as we saw, for these fans to do it here, but it's more difficult because of that design feature with the little fence and the seat being set back. But it's also a great place to watch the game. You feel like you're sitting right on top of the wall there. Butch Husky, the hitter. First ball swinging. He pops it up on the right side. David Bell called off Ibanez and made the catch for the first out. Well, this series continues. Tomorrow and Monday, day games 4:30 Eastern Time starts. Nesson has the action. Nesson also with you Tuesday night at 10 from Oakland for the first game of that important series. Tim Wakefield will make that start. We're back with you Wednesday. I'd imagine it'll be Pat Rapp, wouldn't you, for the Red Sox? They stay in turn. No reason why it wouldn't be Pat at 4 o'clock. Then we'll have the action Friday and Sunday over these stations from New York.
Tell you what, Sean, I hope the infielders and outfielders are having better success picking up these pop-ups than I am. I don't think I've seen one yet.
Well, if you and Wally would stay out of the clubs at night and get to sleep a little earlier. Wally, the beanbag buddy, is becoming a little bit of a behavior problem, don't you think?
Well,
with nightlife.
This first road trip that he's ever been on, of course, making this 2-week swing with the Red Sox, he's still on that Eastern time, you know, and he's up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He wants room service right away. He got upset today because there was no Herald Globe outside the door.
Uh-oh. He doesn't understand that we're 3,000 miles from home.
He's learning, you know, and but
he's been inside the left field wall, and there's Wally here again today. He's been inside the Green Monster since 1912, so he's just learning these things as he makes his debut into American society, really.
I'll be glad when he gets on this West Coast time and starts sleeping a little later, because I mean I can't be getting up at 4:35 every morning just to get him room service.
Well, we had reports that he was just getting in at about 4:30 or 5, so I'm glad to hear that that's not true.
Yeah, wait till he gets to New York.
You're going to have to chaperone Wally around New York. The runner goes. Veritek chops one foul. Jason fly to center his first time up. The Red Sox taking a 1-0 lead here in the 5th. On the home run to start the inning by Garcia Parra. $44,597 the attendance. That's another sellout. O'Leary runs again. That's a fair ball down the right field line. O'Leary on his way to third. Wendell Kim is waving him around. O'Leary's going to score as Buhner's throw is much too late. It's 2-0 Red Sox on a double by Jason Veritek.
Lately, Jimmy Williams has been using Veritek a lot to hit and run. And he's been pretty successful at it. Now, he got the changeup this time from Abbott, but it's not a good one. It stayed up high. And that gave Veritek a chance to make contact, and he'll pull it right down that first base line. One of the few bad changeups that he has thrown today, and it's going to hurt him because it's going to cost him a run. All the way around is O'Leary, and the Red Sox now have the 2-0 lead. When it looked like they weren't going to get a hit all day, all of a sudden they have the 3 and a couple of runs.
2 runs on 3 hits in the inning. A homer, a single, now a double, and another man in scoring position for Wilton Barris. He busted his bat and hit one to short, and Rodriguez throws him out. No chance for Veritek to move to third. Jason still at second with 2 down. Red Sox now hitting the Mariners 3-2. Pedro has a 2-run lead with which to work at the very least when he returns to the mound or the bottom of the 5th. Nixon trying to pad that lead. Trott robbed of a hit on a nice play by the second baseman David Bell. Fielded his grounder in shallow right and threw him out on a close play. Detroit and Oakland still tied at 1. They're in the 5th. Detroit batting. Ball high. Yankees leading Anaheim 5-3 in the 3rd in Anaheim. Red Sox 7.5 games behind New York. A strike, 2-1. Two and 2 now. The 2-2 from Paul Abbott. Hit to first off the glove of Ibanez out into shallow right. Varitek coming toward the plate. Bell up and throwing, not in time. It's 3-0. And in this inning, the Red Sox starting to have a few little things go their way. It's a hit for Nixon and a run batted in.
Good hustle by Varitek from second base, too. This is why you run hard all the way, because this ball's eventually going to be picked up by Bell, the second baseman, and had Varitek slowed up at all, he would not have been able to score. There's Bell chasing it down. Varitek running hard all the way. You see that Bell looked a little surprised that he was coming around to score, and it was not even close.
Without the hesitation, it might have been a very close play. The risk worth taking for the Red Sox with 2 outs. So Nixon has an RBI. Trott's 41st of the year. And here's Offerman, the 7th batter of the inning. Grounded foul wide at first. Jose 0 for 2, 0 for 6 in the series now. Today he struck out and grounded to first. Are you surprised Trot Nixon hasn't attempted more stolen bases this year?
Yeah, I really am. You know, like he had what last year? I think he had close to 20, didn't he?
Yes.
Maybe even over 20 for Pawtucket.
And Trot last year 26 stolen bases for Pawtucket.
Of course, early in the season, Trot was not on base very much.
No.
Had a tough time getting going, and obviously when you're not on base, you're not going to steal.
Little roller. And the Red Sox good fortune continues. Nixon around second before applying the brakes. On the last couple of days, they've seen the opponents, Kansas City and Seattle, pick up a lot of those well-placed hits. Now the Red Sox have collected their share here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, a little bit of luck for the Red Sox here in the 5th inning. You remember last night the Red Sox put on a hit and run. Varitek at the plate hit a bullet, but it was right at David Bell, and they turned over the double play. An example of some of the bad luck. Well, they've got some good luck in this inning. Well, I never expected this in the 5th after getting absolutely nothing through the first 4.
12 up and 12 down in the first 4 innings for the Red Sox against Abbott. Now they have 5 hits here in the 5th. And a chance to expand this 3-0 lead with Darren Lewis up there in the dirt. Blocked off the mid of Lampkin. Lewis is struck out and grounded out.
Yeah.
Some action now in the Mariner bullpen. A little pop fly and foul ground. Bornegar makes a nice play to end the inning. But the Red Sox come up with 3 runs on 5 hits. Started with the home run by Nomar Garcia-Parra. Pedro Martinez will head back to the mound with a 3-0 lead in Seattle.
Want to get away? Southwest has your ticket to freedom with Southwest Airlines fun fares that begin at $39.
You are now free to move about the country.
5 things to consider about the Chevy Impala. It's new. It starts under $20,000. It's designed, engineered, and built to be carefree. It's at your Chevy dealer now. It's received a 5-star frontal crash rating from the federal government. As USA Today put it, it's a lot more car than you imagine, at a lower price than you expect. The new Chevy Impala.
Experience the joy of driving for only $269 a month. See your Chevy dealer for a great lease on the all-new Impala. Call for lease details.
Need new struts? Come to Midas. Get a genuine Midas Gold strut with R2 technology for only $59.95 with a lifetime guarantee. Go safely. Go Midas.
Boston Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines.
And the Red Sox have the 3-0 lead as we move to the bottom of the fifth. Usher in the new millennium with the Boston Red Sox on September 18th as Fenway Park hosts Turn Ahead the Clock Day. The first 15,000 fans entering the park receive an exclusive, futuristically designed Red Sox baseball cap, compliments of Century 21 in Major League Baseball. Tickets can be purchased at the Red Sox ticket office or by calling 617-482-4SOX for 24-hour Touchstone ticketing.
There's Tomokazu Oka, recalled from Pawtucket today. He'll be working out of the bullpen. Pedro Martinez working with the lead for the first time. 3-0 Red Sox. His first pitch to Tom Lampkin is a ball. Lampkin walked in the second. Lampkin, Bell, and Bornegal coming up. There's a strike. Jimmy Williams said before the game, talking about Oka, that it was that one impressive inning that Oka had in Minnesota. First couple times Oka struggled, and then in a one-sided game, I believe a game that Pedro started and won, Oka got in for an inning. And Jimmy said he was really impressed that night by the way Oka threw the ball. Came to the conclusion then that Oka might be able to help them. That's why he asked for Oka to come back, and Dan Duquette made it happen. Foul ball.
Now, the Red Sox front office people on this trip. Dan Duquette joining the club on this 2-week road trip. Jim Healy also out here with his wife, and they're looking at this new ballpark and getting different ideas.
Yes. Jim in charge of a lot of special projects, including the plans for the Red Sox new park. He's put many, many long hours into that project. He and his wife Janice here having a nice time. But we have to be on our best behavior because he's also the vice president in charge of broadcasting for the Red Sox. So
that's right.
We have to be on our best behavior as we always are.
Maybe that's who called last night with a room check. Might have been Jim Healy.
It was Jim.
Well, he took the call. I didn't answer it.
Swing and a miss. Lampkin went fishing. He doesn't bother to run. 7 strikeouts for Martinez. 1 out in the Seattle fifth. Let's update you again on the scoreboard. Baltimore beat Cleveland 3-1. They had lost 8 in a row to Cleveland dating back to last season before winning today. Linton the winner and Cologne the loser. Chicago 12, Texas 3. Rafael Palmeiro takes the league lead in homers in a loss. He hit a 2-run shot, his 42nd. Detroit and Oakland still tied at 1 of the 5th. Yankees leading Anaheim 5-3. In the 4th, Darryl Strawberry has knocked in a run. He's 1 for 2 today. Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Kansas City tonight. 1-1 the count on David Bell, who doubled just off the top of the wall and left off the scoreboard and was stranded in the 3rd. That's the only clean hit off Pedro. The other an infield hit back in the 1st by Ibanez. Bell's ball almost went in that little pub down there in left field. We showed it to you last night. That space between the wall and the scoreboard that's screened in there. There's a pub in there. You can watch the game from the bar. It's the Bullpen Pub. I got a menu. I didn't go down there. Mark, the Berkeley Bear, working with us in the booth here, brought us a menu. So if we get hungry during the game, I don't know if they deliver, but we can call down there and see. I thought they'd have, you know, names of sandwiches with baseball themes, but they don't. Turkey stack, jumbo hot dog, pub burger, 4-alarm chili, steak sandwich. No creativity there. Ball 4, 1-out walk. 3 walks given up by Pedro. I'd imagine that's kind of like watching from a foxhole, wouldn't you? Reminds me of our old broadcast booth in Minnesota, the current broadcast booth in Minnesota.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a very clear view of the field, but I guess if the baseball too goes between that scoreboard and the fence, it's a ground rule double, which is a different kind of ground rule.
Yeah, well, it could be an inside the logger home run.
Didn't look too busy in the pub today.
No, day game. Ball up and into Rafael Bornegal. He grounded back to the mound in the third. Swing and a miss on a pitch down and in. Pedro Martinez trying to win 20 games in a season for the first time in his career. Single season best was 19 last year when he went 19-7 in his first year with the Red Sox. Well, that's the third time. Pedro started to wind up, and Brian Honora has called time.
Even Bornegal was shaking his head there, almost like he didn't expect Honora to give him time.
You don't see many hitters anymore with that cap underneath the helmet.
No, you don't. That's true. A lot of times young players do that because the helmets are so big they don't fit them, and you have the cap to go underneath to make it a little more snug.
Bell is running. Bornegal dribbles one foul down the third baseline. It does have a certain little league look to it.
Crushes the hat too.
Yeah.
But of course at the big league level you can get a new hat anytime you want.
Many of them choose not to do that. These are two managers though who I think wear the hat right out of the box. Jimmy Williams always had a very flat cap. He doesn't take any time to try to shape it, and Lou Piniella the same way. Of course, Lou doesn't have his hat on all the time. He throws it and kicks it and takes it off and scratches his head. I don't think either one of these guys does the bending thing that's very common today. Just missed. How much attention would you say the average player pays to the way the uniform looks and fits?
Oh, I think quite a bit, and especially in spring training when they're getting measured for their uniforms. A lot of times they'll come back the first time and it won't be quite right. They'll be back to the tailor to get it done the way they like it done. Notice Pedro cuts his shirt, his sleeves in the back.
Right off the end of the bat, Bornegal clinging to life with the count 2-2.
So he has those slips up the side of the shirt. And he gives him a little bit more freedom with his throwing arm and also the other arm, and that's the way he likes it.
Outfield way around toward right again for Bornegal. The infield at double play depth. 3-0 Red Sox in the fifth. Pedro steps off and looks Bell back to first. Pedro waiting a very long time. And then he blows away Bornegal. 97 miles an hour up and in. Second strikeout of the inning for Martinez.
A long at bat too by Bornegal, but finally Pedro put him away with that up and in fastball. 97. That might be the hardest fastball he's featured all day long.
97 a couple of times today. Pedro's thrown 82 pitches. He's been in double digits in strikeouts in his previous 3 starts. 11, 15, and 11 the last 3. Bell back to first. He's at first base with 2 outs. In the fifth, the Red Sox 3 and the Mariners nothing.
The game back in May when he started against Seattle, he had 15 strikeouts in that ball game, and he had 6 in 4 innings in the relief appearance back at Fenway Park.
3 times in a game this year he struck out 15, and 1 time 16, which is his career best. That was against Atlanta on June 4th. Going for his 20th win today, and of course he spent time on the disabled list with a sore right shoulder. First time in his career on the DL for Pedro. Drops in a strike to Brian Hunter.
That may help him in this month of September because his innings obviously down from what they were a year ago.
No contest on that swing by Hunter. 1-2. Pedro 1 strike away from striking out the side with the walk to David Bell mixed in.
Varitek making his middle infielders aware of the possible delay steal by David Bell. They tried that last night, but the Red Sox were not trapped.
Hunter just did a piece of that one to stay alive.
To me, that's a play that's not used enough in the big leagues, the delay steal, and you usually use it with guys that not base stealers, but the other guys that have decent speed. And the idea of it is to catch the middle infielders sleeping, or at least with their head down after the ball goes by the hitter. You generally put the delay steal on when there are 2 outs and the infield is back deep.
Check swing, roller, foul.
Almost never put it on when they're in double play position because obviously it's a lot easier for them to get to the bag. You're not trying to really fool the catcher. You're trying to fool the middle infielders.
Three 3-0 Boston. Been a long bottom of the 5th to Pedro, even though he's facing just the 4th batter of the inning. And working very slowly. On the ground, left side, cut off by Veras. This throw and plenty of time to get Hunter to end the inning. Pedro has shut out the Mariners on 2 hits through 5, and the Red Sox lead 3-0.
When the male is in pursuit of the female, the slightest scent of unpleasantness may send the female running. Thus, I recommend Right Guard Clear Gel or Clear Stick. Powerful protection from ferocious odor and wetness that glides on clear with no flaky white stuff.
How far's the female?
A good 70 yards, mate. I've made longer passes than that before. Right Guard, Clear Gel, and Clear Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
To the millennium.
Was it a snake? No, the champagne's not Corbel.
Corbel, official champagne of the Millennium Celebration.
Chevrolet cars are trusted by more Americans than any other. Chevy trucks are the most dependable, longest lasting on the road. If that's not enough reason to own a Chevrolet car or truck, then this definitely is. The great summer drive-in from Chevrolet. Lease a new 1999 four-wheel drive Chevy Silverado, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, for only $299 a month for 36 months. Call for important lease details. It's Chevrolet's great summer drive-in. See your local Chevrolet dealer today.
Boston Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. In Seattle, the Red Sox lead 3-0. Trying to even this series at 1 win apiece with 2 more to come. Brian Daubach, the only man who didn't bat in the 5th, and the Red Sox sent 8 men to the plate against Paul Abbott. Daubach struck out and popped out. He looked at strike 1. Daubach, Garcia, Parra, and O'Leary. Red Sox scored 3 times and 5 hits. Last inning, RBIs for Garcia Parra on his homer. An RBI doubled by Jason Varitek and an RBI single by Trot Nixon. 1-1 on Daubach. Swing and a miss. In the last 9 games for the Red Sox, Nomar Garcia Parra is the only Red Sox hitter who's hit a home run.
It's amazing, not one home run in that homestand for the Red Sox.
And they won 6 out of 7. Without the long ball. 1-2 pitch. Bach popped it up in foul ground. Bornegal has it, 1 out. That'll bring up Nomar Garcia-Parra. Provided the Red Sox with their first base runner, their first hit, and their first run, all with 1 swing, leading off the 5th. Nomar's second home run in as many games in this series. His 20th of the year. Continues to demolish Mariner pitching. Make the play, Jerry. Oh, you missed it. Oh, and it went out of the booth. And hit Wally on the way out. I thought you were going to catch it, and then you backed away at the last moment.
Well, it was going to hit off the monitor, and I thought it was going to get me right in the face.
Well, it hit Wally, Jerry, on the way out of the booth. Almost knocked Wally. I had a choice between saving Wally's life or going for the ball.
Look at Rice. Rice is giving it to me right now. He wants to give me a glove.
Yeah, Mike Stanley's offering you one, too. Nomar pops it up again. Two outs. Rice wants to know if the sun's in your eyes. Stano does, too. Here's a look at it. And there it goes. Hit Wally. See, and I went for Wally. I couldn't go for the ball because I didn't want poor Wally to suffer.
Right in the head,
He's
too.
all right, though. He's all right. The important, yeah, they want to know now if you want some glasses.
Yeah, I'll take the glasses. Thank you.
Yeah, send them up. Troy O'Leary, the batter.
Who was that last out anyway?
I don't know.
Garcia-Parra
popped out. There's Phil Rizzuto. We put on his scorecard. WW. Wasn't watching. I think Wally's injured. Let's get back to more important matters.
And to get an ice bag for him.
Yeah, we need an ice bag for Wally. Swing and a miss. You know what we'll do? I have a cold bottle of water here. And maybe we can just rest his head up against it.
Yeah, that's good.
For a minute. Here we go. Ice the back of his head. He took the ball. That was almost a catastrophe. Because if Wally makes that fall, Jerry, how far are we above the seats below there? We've got to be 50 feet.
Yeah, it would have been a bad fall for him. And we probably wouldn't have got him back either for the rest of the trip.
No. Let's look at that. It would have been devastating. On the ground, a second. Bell throws out O'Leary. Abbott bounces back after a rough 5th inning for the 1-2-3-6. You're watching Red Sox baseball from Seattle on the JCS New England Television Network.
The Red Sox meet the New York Yankees in New York. Friday night at 7:30 on WBGR-TV, Bangor.
It's another hot, sticky summer, but you're swimming in your very own pool. It's a summer of fun, excitement, and gosh darn it, joy. So kick off your shoes and head on down to Tapley Pools and Spas. Tapley's has a large selection of portable pools, from Olympic size to home, whatever's right for you. And splash pools are versatile. You make the configuration. Splash Super Pools. Super looking, super easy, super tough. At Tapley Pools and Spas, Route 2 in Herman.
Set your clock for good time.
And boogie! And the minute our eyes heat, I knew she was Gladys Knight and I was the pimp.
Call now and get in all the good times with Good Times, now on home video.
I rated D for dang old man.
Lindsay, stop that nonsense before something falls off.
Pour me a cup of coffee and make it like I like my man, hot, black, and strong.
Good Times, the Collector's Edition. Own 4 of the funniest episodes ever for just $4.95 plus shipping and handling.
I'm an Orange Keys. What I didn't know algebra before anyway. What am I, an Algerian?
So set your clock for Good Times on home video. Operators are standing by.
To get your first 4-episode video of Good Times, the collector's edition for only $4.95 plus shipping, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-527-7688. That's 1-800-527-7688.
Excuses, we have to leave, but we have to take Wally out on a stretcher. He's a little woozy. Take him here for the time being. At the end of the inning, we might have to take him down to the first aid room. On his little stretcher there, he's out of it after taking the foul ball in the head. Maybe Jim Rowe. We sent an urgent message to Jim. Raul Ibanez begins the sixth against Pedro. He's working on a 2-hit shutout. An infield single and a double, the only hits given up by Pedro. Ibanez had the infield hit. Glenn Wilburn from the Red Sox Public Relations Department here. I think the rest of the media want an update on. Oh, Glenn's just been paged too. I think they want an update on Wally's condition. Still out. I don't think we should release it right now. We don't want to concern the rest of the Green Monster family. He's out cold, and so is Ibanez. Called out on strikes, the 9th K for Pedro. Well, let's check the playoff race in the National League. The key games involving the contenders are later on. Arizona at Atlanta, Colorado at the Mets, Houston at Montreal, and Cincinnati is at Philadelphia. And those races starting to widen in recent days. Atlanta red hot, leads the Mets by 4.5, and Houston leads struggling Cincinnati by 2.5. The Mets lead Cincinnati by 4 in the wild card race. San Francisco 7 games back in the wild card. Only 5 games back of Arizona out west. San Francisco's making a move. The Giants have won 7 in a row, while Arizona has lost 3 straight. The Giants within striking distance, 5 back with a month to go. Ken Griffey Jr. 0 for 2. Up there with a count of 2-0. 1 out, 6th inning. The Red Sox lead 3-0. Griffey's done next to nothing against the Red Sox this season. You hesitate to say something like that. And sometimes on the very next pitch, kaboom.
He's 0 for 11 so far in his career against Pedro Martinez. 0 for 9 coming into today. He's got a couple of pop-up outs.
Two and 2. Martinez has struck out 4 of the last 6 Mariners. Going to make it 5 out of 7 if he can punch out Griffey for his 10th strikeout of the game. There it is. 4th game in a row with double digits in strikeouts for Martinez. 2 down here in the 6th.
Well, Pedro was good to start the game, but ever since the Red Sox have got those 3 runs on the board, he's been even better. Here's the curveball down and into Griffey to pick up the strikeout. And they just continue to pile up for the leader in the American League in strikeouts, Pedro Martinez. 50th career 10-plus strikeout game, and the 4th straight time he's done it since coming off the disabled list.
15th time this year. 23rd in 2 years with the Red Sox. 10 strikeouts or more. His career high is 16 against Atlanta. Alex Rodriguez has struck out and fly to right. 1-0 the count on A-Rod. 3-0 Red Sox in the 6th. Red Sox getting exactly what they needed from Martinez today. Well, partner, I'll rely on you to describe what was wrong with that one.
There have been a couple of head shakers for Martinez. I'd say maybe 6 in this game.
Yeah. Fly ball to center. Well hit. Lewis on the edge of the track makes the catch. One of the few well-struck balls against Pedro today. Shut out the Mariners through 6. It's 3-0 Red Sox.
gosh, I can't believe that rope swing's still here.
These are the days. Fetzer days. Enjoy the wine.
Premium cut lumber. Quality wood products with fewer gouges and knots, less bark, warping, and twisting. Other lumber doesn't stack up. Premium cut. Quality wood products. Only at the Home Depot.
To be the best takes strength, speed, endurance. Now the best way to cure athlete's foot has it all. New Lamisil AT. Strength. Full prescription strength to stop the itching and burning. Speed. These take 4 weeks of treatment to kill the fungus. Only Lamisil AT cures athlete's foot with just 1 week's use. Endurance. A study showed most users were still athlete's foot free 3 whole months later. Get it all in new Lamisil AT. The best way to cure athlete's foot.
Hi, come on in. Hey, it's good to see you.
How are you?
These are the days.
Something smells great.
Fetzer days. Enjoy the wine.
Back at Safeco Field. You're wondering, Safeco, the name of an insurance company. Title sponsor of this new ballpark. 3-0 Red Sox, all the scoring in the 5th. As Paul Abbott retired every batter he faced in the first 4 innings, but Nomar Garcia-Parra led off the 5th with a homer. O'Leary singled. Veritek doubled to knock in O'Leary. Nixon singled to knock in Veritek. Pedro Martinez has been in command throughout. He's allowed just 1 hit that went to the outfield, a double by David Bell that was nearly a home run off the top of the scoreboard and left in the 3rd. But other than that, very few loud noises against Pedro from the Mariners. Husky takes a strike from Paul Abbott and shoots a little look back at Brian O'Nora. I think the Red Sox will be glad when Brian O'Nora is at 3rd base tomorrow, which should significantly reduce the likelihood that he'll be involved in any key plays.
Well, he can still take it from the dugout down there as maybe some of those calls on check swings. It's always tough when you have a start like that, too, in a 4-game series. Game 1 of a 4-game series. Hopefully everything goes smooth the rest of today. And tomorrow, Brian will be down at 3rd base. And as you mentioned, Sean, hopefully with not much activity.
Yes. Swing and a miss. A high fastball. Strikeout for Abbott. His 7th, but the 1st since he struck out Veras with 1 out in the 3rd. He had 6 strikeouts after 8 batters today.
Well, apparently with Husky spending time here in Seattle, the pitching staff has a pretty good idea how to work to him. He was 0 for 3 last night and 0 for 3 in this ball game with a couple of strikeouts.
5 in a row retired by Abbott. So just the 1 shaky inning for Paul. And Veritek takes the ball. Jason doubled down the right field line to knock in a run and scored a run in the 5th. 3 runs, 5 hits for Boston. No runs, 2 hits for Seattle. That's well struck, but foul down the line. Let's pause for station identification. You're watching Red Sox baseball on the JCS New England Television Network. Veritek takes a ball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. A little pop-up. Alex Rodriguez on the outfield grass. 2 outs in the 7th.
I guess that's a number 33 that Veritek wore in college. Play, and of course making that change, giving his old number 47 Rob Beck.
Wilton Veras next. Strike one. Veras is struck out and grounded to short. One ball, one strike. Red Sox are going to see two more talented young pitchers over the weekend. Freddie Garcia, who's won 14 games, and John Alamo, who's won 11, will pitch for the Mariners on Monday. David Bell threw out Veras, and the Mariner Moose does his thing, whatever that is. 7th inning stretch, 3-0 Red Sox.
We brought you the newest Dodge Neon with everything from more total interior room to a redesigned transmission so you can grin from gear to gear. Now here's what else is new. The Dodge Summer Clearance with extremely low financing on Neon. Or a generous cash allowance, which makes your new Neon extremely affordable. What's new from the new Dodge? See your friendly New England Dodge dealer.
Would you like to make 10, 20, even $30,000 more a month?
I did.
I did. You see, I have created an astounding foolproof money-making method. Thanks to you, I made 10 grand in one day. Wow. It's easy. Simply send me $50 for my book, How to Get People to Send You $50 for a Book.
It's time for E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online. Need new struts? Come to Midas. Get a genuine Midas Gold strut with R2 technology for only $59.95 with a lifetime guarantee. Go safely. Go Midas.
To develop the most advanced Bengay ever, we combined 3 pain relievers for the first Trigesic formula. Ultra Strength Bengay. It heats, penetrates, relieves to help set you free. Ultra Strength Bengay.
7th inning stretch in Seattle. The Red Sox lead 3-0. Pedro Martinez working on a 2-hit shutout. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Boston Red Sox, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned Boston Red Stockings. Well, the roof open again today. Partly cloudy and cool afternoon in the Pacific Northwest. Very close to the water here. Pedro ready to work to Edgar Martinez, who takes a strike. Edgar is struck out and walked today. Close, but a ball. Pedro struck out 10 with very little help on close pitches all day long from Brian O'Nora. He's thrown 102 pitches, given up 2 hits, none since the 3rd inning. Some football scores for you. As we mentioned, BC beat Baylor in overtime at the Heights today, 30-29 in the Eagles opener. New Hampshire beat Rhode Island 37-14, and Pedro has 11 strikeouts.
Up and in with the fastball, 95 miles an hour for Pedro here in the 7th inning. Well, he turned it up a notch when he got the 3-run lead back in the 5th inning. He was good before that, but he's been outstanding since getting the lead.
Jay Buhner struck out twice. Foul ball. Other college football action. Colgate defeated Maine 28-21. Northeastern over AIC 44-7. Nebraska hammered Iowa 42-7. Georgia Tech 49, Navy 14. Texas 69, Stanford 17. Virginia over North Carolina 20-17 a final. Penn State routed Akron 70-24. Alabama 28, Vanderbilt 17 a final. 1-2 the count. Pedro looking for back-to-back strikeouts, looking for number 12 overall, looking for his 4th and 5 hitters. And he has it. One of the few borderline calls he's received today. Breaking ball in the corner, no argument from Buhner. Buhner is fanned 3 times, and Martinez has 12 strikeouts.
He's got him twice with the curveball and once with the fastball today. Nasty curveball there. All you can do as a hitter is just admire that.
Well, Buhner's record against Pedro is still perfect. He's 0 for 8 in his career with 8 strikeouts. Tom Lampkin has walked and struck out. The only Mariner in the lineup today who was not fanned at least once is David Bell. He's on deck. Three-0 Red Sox, bottom of the 7th. Lampkin takes one that just missed. Strike on the inside part of the plate. Pedro missed the target. The men of Veritek had to go a long way to catch it, but it was still a strike. And a chance to strike out the side now. Foul ball. Martinez trying to become the Red Sox first 20-game winner since Roger Clemens in 1990 when Roger went 21-6. Pitch. Lampkin just got a piece of it.
We've had a few right-handers in this lineup today for Seattle, so Pedro's throwing more curveballs than we normally see. Usually they stack the lineup with lefties, and of course that's when his changeup becomes a very important pitch. Tried to put Lampkin away there with the changeup, and he just fouled it off.
He struck him out, and he struck out the side in the 7th. Brilliant performance by Pedro. He's struck out the side 14 times this season. After 7, the Red Sox 3 and the Mariners nothing.
Hi, come on in. Hey, it's good to see you.
How are you? These are the days.
Something smells great.
Fetzer days. Enjoy the wine.
Now at Pep Boys, get a great deal on Valvoline. Only 99 cents a quart. Save on Valvoline just 99 cents. And don't miss our 2 for $3 offer on any Purolator oil and air filter. Only at Pep Boys.
Cars like us. People love us.
Nicorette isn't casual gum. It has a purpose. It helps you stop smoking. And you don't chew it like regular gum. You bite it until it tingles. And then you hold it between your cheek and your gum. And the tingling lets you know you're getting the nicotine you need to help fight your craving. And as your cravings get fewer and fewer, you use less and less Nicorette until you use none. And none is a wonderful number.
Now, Nicorette is available in mint. What a refreshing choice. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Hey, I'll race you across.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that rope swing's still here. These are the days. Fetzer days. Enjoy the wine.
Sean McDonough, Jerry Remy in Seattle, where the Red Sox lead 3-0. They're ready to bat in the 8th against Paul Abbott. Series continues tomorrow at 4:30 on Nesson, with Mark Portugal squaring off with 14-game winner Freddie Garcia. Monday's pitching matchup also at 4:30 on Nesson is Kent Merker and John Halama. And it's on to Oakland. Nesson has the game Tuesday at 10. We're with you for our next telecast Wednesday afternoon at 4 for the last meeting of the regular season between the Red Sox and Oakland Athletics. Friday in New York after an off day, and we're with you at 7:30 Friday night. Sunday at 1:30. Trot Nixon sends one straight back. Nixon robbed of a hit on a diving play by David Bell, the second baseman in the third. He singled to right off the glove of the first baseman Ibanez to knock in a run in the fifth. Paul Abbott's retired 7 in a row. The only inning in which the Red Sox have had a base runner was the fifth. And in that inning, they sent 8 men to the plate and scored 3 runs on 5 hits. They have not had a man on base in any other inning. And that the punt try, it's 0-2.
And that inning wasn't a total disaster for Abbott. There are a couple of the hit and run play, of course, was a big play in that inning.
He hasn't walked anybody. He's fanned 7. Ball outside. The Mariners do have Butch Henry just activated off the disabled list last night, warming up in the bullpen. Nixon rips one to right, his second hit. And the Red Sox 6th. He could easily be 3 for 3 today, but not for that fine play by Bell back in the third.
Well, that average continues to climb for Trot Nixon. Started the game at 274, a couple of hits, 2 for 3 in this ball game.
There's Brett Saberhagen. We mentioned earlier in an encouraging session throwing before the game today. He's going to try it again on Wednesday. He thinks it's possible he could return to action this season if he continues to progress as he did today. Jose Offerman at the plate. The Mariners looking for a bunt.
Nixon now has reached base in 24 of the last 26 games that he's appeared in. So whether that be by hit, walk, or error, I mean, at least he's getting on base and providing something from the bottom of that lineup.
Nixon's running. The pitch is up and away. The throw gets by Rodriguez and goes into center field. Nixon into third. The throw short-hopped Rodriguez. It looked like with a good throw they would have had Trot. That'll likely be a stolen base and then an error on Lampkin, allowing Nixon to reach third with nobody out.
I think that might have been a hit and run, Sean, and Offerman did not swing because the ball was up and away. It was actually almost like a pitch out. But you see the one hop that gets past Rodriguez, and Nixon with the pop-up slide will get to third base with nobody out.
Now the Mariners have to play the infield in. The count is 2-0 on Offerman, who singled to left his last time up. 1 for 3 today. Infield in, outfield straight away. Offerman sends it out at play to the left.
Squeeze might not be a bad idea somewhere with that man at third base, whether it be with Offerman or with Lewis, who's a very good bunter up next. Usually you do the squeeze with 1 out.
Offerman hits it in the air to straightaway center field. Griffey readying himself. Nixon is going to try it. Griffey with a long high throw that's just off of the first base side, and Nixon scores. Offerman a sacrifice fly and an RBI, the 59th for Jose, and Nixon makes it 4-0.
Good strong throw by Griffey, but it's going to be up the first base side. You see Lampkin, the catcher, having to go over the first base and then trying to come back. Nixon does not have to slide, and the Red Sox now have the 4-0 lead. Nice job by Offerman to get that ball in the air and just deep enough to get Nixon home with the sacrifice fly.
So now 1 out of the base is empty. And the batter Darren Lewis 0 for 3 today. Strike. Paul Abbott has allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. Hasn't been very lucky today. 2-1.
Well, you know, when you pitch against Pedro Martinez, you've just about got to be perfect. And the one bad inning for Abbott coming in the 5th, giving the Red Sox a 3-0 lead, and especially on top of the way Pedro's thrown today, it's very frustrating for a guy that's pitching a pretty good ball game.
1 to Lewis, ball 4. Abbott might be tiring. Lou Piniella's on his way out to the mound. He's going to make a pitching change. And he's put out the call for Butch Henry with the lefty Brian Daubach due up. 7 1/3 quality innings from Abbott. And he's going to depart on the short end of a 4-0 score. I think it's a very nice hand, well deserved from this sellout crowd. And he'll be replaced by Butch Henry, who'll be making his first appearance since April. He's been on the DL for months with a shoulder problem. Most people who follow the Mariners didn't think he'd be back at all this year. He comes into a 4-0 game. We come back right after this.
Want to get away? Southwest has your ticket to freedom with Southwest Airlines fun fares that begin at $39.
You are now free to move about the country.
Like Fenway, you'll love the new ballpark. Same field, same dimensions, same wall. Seats just as close to the field, not the fan next to you. Modern restrooms and concessions will create a more family-friendly experience. Wider aisles and concourses and new garages will make getting in and out a lot easier. 10,000 more seats, and the only pole is pesky. The Sox will be right here for another century. And remember, every time we build a new ballpark, the Red Sox win the World Series.
Back at Safeco Field, the Red Sox with the 4-0 lead here in the top of the 8th inning. Take a look at the scoreboard in the American League. Baltimore beating Cleveland 3-1. Chicago beating up on Texas 12-3. Good ball game in Oakland, all tied at 1. That's in the 8th inning. The Yankees 3 ahead of the Angels. And Minnesota Tampa Bay a 6:35 start. Toronto at Kansas City an 8:05 start. They're still tied up in Oakland 1-1. Pretty good ball game between the Tigers and Athletics.
Great pitchers duel, Brian Moeller and Tim Hudson.
Butch Henry making his first appearance since coming off the disabled list. 4 of those appearances that you see there way at the beginning of the season. A torn labrum in that left shoulder for Butch Henry has kept him out all this time. He's made a couple of rehab appearances down at the AAA level. Here's his last outing right at the end of April.
Paul Abbott, 7 1/3 innings, 4 runs on 6 hits. Just issued his first walk and looked fatigued while throwing ball 4 to Lewis. And he struck out 7. 6 of those came against the first 8 batters of the ball game. Mike Stanley's going to pinch hit for Brian Daubach. Daubach 0 for 3 today. Stanley at .268, 16 homers, 55 runs batted in. He was in the starting lineup as the first baseman last night, went 1 for 3 with a first inning single. Takes a strike from the veteran and former Red Sox lefty Henry. Bush appearing in relief for the first time since 1997. Missed outside. Lewis at first, 1 out, 1 run in this inning. Pitch is high. Henry's had arm trouble in the past. He had Tommy John surgery. He missed all of the 1996 season when he was the property of the Montreal Expos. That's when Dan Kett grabbed him while he was sitting out. He had a good year for the Red Sox in '97. Went 7-3. An ERA of 3.5. Floyd Bluford Henry III. Known to all as Butch. Stanley hit that hard but foul.
Tough for Lewis to get a jump over there against Butch Henry, left-handed, plus he's been using the slide step to home plate. 15 steals for Lewis, ties in with Offerman for the team lead. Garcia-Parra has 13.
Henry in the Red Sox organization last year as well, but was pitched at the beginning of the year and then missed most of the year while recovering from left knee surgery. Stanley strikes out for the second out of the inning.
Like a breaking ball. First breaking ball from Butch Henry. It's been fastball changeup to that point.
Here's Nomar, 1 for 3 with the homer that started the Red Sox scoring in the 5th. Homer to the opposite field. Sends one right back here. And we do have good news to report. Wally, the beanbag buddy, was taken out on a stretcher. He was examined by the Mariners team doctors and has been diagnosed with a concussion, but we don't think it's anything serious. And he's been advised to ice his head. And he's a prima donna. We have to do it for him. Off-speed pitch missed. It's a little tough to announce the game, Jerry, when you got to ice the beanbag buddy's head. And he's really your roommate more than he's a friend of mine. So you want to take this over?
No. It's just like concussion. You can get the ice off. He'll be all right.
Think he's all right?
Yeah.
He's still kind of wheezing a little. There's a strike.
He gets back to the hotel. He'll take a nap. We'll order room service again. And I'm sure he'll be fine.
He's been ringing up your room service charges, hasn't he? Big fan of those pay movies, I'm told. Out of play to the right.
That reminds me, I've got to call the front desk and get those movies clicked off because he has been bad like that.
Managing to smile through it all, though. And a tough day for Wally. I mean, what are the odds in a ballpark this size that little Wally can't be more than, what, 4 or 5 inches?
Gets hit in the head.
Gets hit right in the head. Oh, Nomar grazed by that pitch, perhaps more than grazed, shaking his left arm as he runs down to first. Jim Rowe looking out to see if Nomar needs some assistance, but apparently he does not.
Hard to tell where it got Nomar, on the elbow or the hand, but right away. It was the elbow because right away he started to shake that left arm.
Red Sox have 2 men on now with 2 outs, leading 4-0 in the 8th. The batter is Troy O'Leary. Ball 1. Troy 1 for 3. He singled to right and scored in the 5th. Ball 3. 3-0. Butch Husky on deck. Fifteen pitches for Henry. 8 of them balls. Throw to second. They pick Lewis off. Well, you don't see Darren go to sleep very often, but he's picked off. And that ends the inning. 1 run in the 8th for Boston. Red Sox lead 4-0. You're watching Red Sox baseball on the JCS New England Television Network.
DVR is PAX TV.
In any industry, image is everything. The days of sappy, low-budget productions are gone. With the advent of new technologies, we can now bridge the gap between cost and quality. At Real Motion Digital Pictures, we work with companies every day to create exciting imagery that is both memorable and cost-effective. Sharpen your image, get on track, and get real.
Are you looking for work? Call Kelly Services. We'll put you where you want to be in today's workforce. Full-time positions or temporary assignments with leading companies can give you the career you want. Word processors, secretaries, data entry operators, and receptionists work for Kelly every day, and so can you. Our light industrial workers are always in demand. Work as assemblers, packagers, and warehouse workers. Enjoy Kelly's benefits, including holiday, vacation pay, and bonuses. Call Kelly Services today.
You know, ideas and inventions come from people in all walks of life. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? If so, Invention Submission Corporation has information to help you get started. ISC is America's largest inventor service firm. Call now and learn how to submit your idea to companies through ISC's data bank and apply for a patent. Even if your idea is just to improve an existing product, call for ISC's free information.
Pedro Martinez pitching now with a 4-0 lead. He has shut out the Mariners on 2 hits. He is Mike Stanley playing first base. After Stanley hit for Daubach, Mike remains in the game. Darren Lewis was picked off.
Trying to get that big lead at second base with 2 outs to score on a base hit. Butch Henry has a pretty quick move to second. Remember that from his days with the Red Sox. And that's a good way to get out of the inning for the Mariners, but certainly not for the Red Sox.
David Bell, the only Mariner who has not struck out at least once against Pedro. He has doubled and walked. Rattled the cage of Veritek. Well, Pedro has a chance to make it at least 1 strikeout of every starter in the lineup today for the Mariners.
Bell has been the toughest out for him today. He has that double, and of course he walked them back in the 5th inning.
There it is. Every Mariner has fanned, and Pedro has punched out 14 Seattle hitters.
And 4 in a row now for Pedro. 6 of the last 7. Batters have struck out against Martinez. Upstairs with the fastball. Bell tries to check the swing. Can't do so. And now Pedro can put all of them in his book for today. Look at those numbers. 35 strikeouts against the Mariners in 19 in the 3rd inning.
5 walks, 3 earned runs allowed. Pitch number 120 from Pedro. Bounce fouled by Bornegal. And Pedro says he's completely recovered from that arm problem that had him disabled us for the first time in his career. And really feels a lot better heading into the last month of this season than he did in the past. Remember last year he was sick early in the year. It weakened him and he never really got back to full strength. Bornegal pops it up. Offerman takes it. 2 outs in the Seattle 8th.
Now the other thing too is Pedro will be able to get an extra day's rest as you have the off day on Thursday when the Red Sox travel to Detroit. I mean to New York, excuse me.
You bite your tongue and travel to Detroit.
We've already been there twice.
Thank goodness. That's over with.
We've already been in New York twice too with interleague play, but this will be our 3rd trip. And 2nd to Yankee Stadium.
Brian Hunter took a ball. He's 0 for 3. Now last night you said your first impressions of Safeco Field, number 2 on your list behind Baltimore, I believe. Still like the original of these kind of ballparks the best.
Right.
After the nearly 1-hour cab ride, the mile back to the hotel last night, traffic a problem here. Is it still number 2 on the list, or does it lose points for that?
Well, if it happens again, it's going to lose a lot of points. But that was awful last night, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Just terrible traffic around this place. We were in a cab from here to the hotel, which is no more than, what, maybe 3 miles away,
At
2
the
miles?
most. Straight up a very big hill.
45 minutes, at least, to get back to the hotel. Yeah. And they're going to have to do something about that because not for us, obviously, but the fans trying to get out of here last night was ridiculous.
Yes.
We thought Atlanta was tough when we first went and visited Turner Field, but nothing compared to this.
No. 3-2 on Hunter.
You know, maybe as time goes on too, and some of the infrastructure around here changes a little bit. Maybe they'll open up some areas where they can get onto the freeway a little bit quicker.
The off pitch. Hunter still throwing in the low and mid 90s here in the 8th inning. Hunter just did squirrel it to the right. What is a beautiful park, and just what they needed here. Retractable roofs. When they do get those rainy days, they can close it. We get so many nice days this time of the year. People love being outdoors. Strike 3. 15 for Pedro. One shy of his career high. He'll likely have a chance to do that in the 9th. The Red Sox lead 4-0.
Flying to Baltimore for business? If these 19 reasons don't convince you to fly Southwest Airlines nonstop to Baltimore, maybe this will. Call 1-800-I-FLY-SWA.
You are now free to move about the country.
Need new struts? Come to Midas. Get a genuine Midas Gold strut with R2 technology for only $59.95 with a lifetime guarantee. Go safely. Go Midas.
When the male is in pursuit of the female, the slightest scent of unpleasantness may send the female running. Thus, Right Guard Clear Gel or Clear Stick. Powerful protection from odor and wetness that glides on clear. Right Guard. Anything less would be uncivilized.
We brought you Dodge Caravan, the most innovative minivan in history, the best-selling minivan in history, and the most copied minivan in history. Now here's what's new from the new Dodge. The Dodge Summer Clearance with a $1,000 cash allowance on Caravan that lowers your price to just $17,785. Or buy Caravan with low 1.9 financing. What's new from the new Dodge?
See your friendly New England Dodge dealer.
Boston Red Sox baseball has been brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. And by your friendly Dodge dealer. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. Troy O'Leary takes strike 1 from Butch Henry. O'Leary, Husky, and Veritek trying to add a little more breathing room for the Red Sox. They bat with a 4-0 lead. Pedro Martinez, 3 outs away from becoming the Major's first 20-game winner this season, winning 20 games in a season for the first time in his career, and being the Red Sox first 20-game winner since Roger Clemens won 21 in 1990. The 0-2 is low. O'Leary back at the plate. He was there when Darren Lewis was picked off second to end the 8th inning. 4 runs, 6 hits for the Red Sox. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 Mariner error, which led to an unearned run. Charged to Paul Abbott. That's strike 3. They appeal, and Al Clark says it was a swing. It certainly looked to be, and O'Leary's out to start the 9th.
Well, Butch Henry's done a nice job as we look at Rod Beck loosening in the Red Sox bullpen. Henry with a couple of strikeouts and the hit batter since coming in, his first appearance since back in April, and it looks like that's going to be it. Is Stan Williams, the pitching coach, out to make the change. Stan was on the DL last time the Mariners came to Boston, had knee surgery.
Butch Henry's return to active duty, a success. He struck out 2 batters and hit 1, picked the man off. Just 1 inning in relief of Abbott. Abbott went 7 1/3, allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 6 hits, including a homer. He walked 1 and struck out 7 through 108 pitches. 68 of them strikes. Todd Williams, the new pitcher. You're watching Red Sox baseball on the JCS New England Television Network.
Back at Safeco Field, the Red Sox with the 4-0 lead here in the top of the 9th inning. Todd Williams will come on to face the right-hander Husky. Williams appearing in his 7th game, his 8th game actually today. 4 1/3 innings, not much action for him. He was called up from Tacoma on August the 7th. Was acquired in a trade back in July from Cincinnati for Kerry Robinson in the Cincinnati organization. Spent just about the whole season, 38 games with Indianapolis.
Brief Major League time with Cincinnati and Los Angeles back in 1995. Other than that, he's been a career minor leaguer, 28 years old. Butch Husky 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Batting with 1 out and the bases empty in the 9th. Williams drops down in his delivery and throws a strike. Butch Henry pitched 1 inning without allowing a hit or a run. He struck out 2 hit a batter. Williams, from one of America's great cities, Syracuse, New York. Graduate of Manoa High School, East Syracuse, Manoa. Attended Onondaga Community College in the Salt City. And he strikes out Husky. All kinds of strikeouts in this game. Martinez has fanned 15 Mariners, and the Seattle pitchers have combined to strike out 10 Red Sox hitters.
That sidearm delivery from Williams is a little bit nasty against those right-handers, and Husky with some very uncomfortable swings against him in that at-bat. Sure, Husky would like to be faring better in these 2 games so far against his former ball club.
Jason Varitek hits it on the ground to short. Rodriguez to Ibanez for the out. Varitek 1 for 4 with an RBI double and a run scored. So Williams does his job well. And the Mariners will try to rally. Looks like it'll be against Rod Beck as he's making his way down the bullpen stairs. 4-0 Red Sox heading to the bottom of the 9th in Seattle.
Official champagne of the Millennium Celebration.
Well, I never missed breakfast. No way. If you don't eat breakfast, then the bad germs come in. But if you don't eat lunch or dinner, it's okay. I met a scientist and he told me all this stuff.
We learned our philosophy in preschool, not business school. Hampton Inn.
If you eat a proper breakfast, you can frolic.
Back at Safeco Field, it'll be the last chance for the Seattle Mariners as we look at a game summary.
And the summary says
Pedro Martinez, outstanding. 8 innings in this ball game. The 15 strikeouts, only 2 hits. A nice job by Paul Abbott also. 7 1/3, 7 strikeouts for Abbott. Pedro got tough once the Red Sox got the lead. He tied the last 11 batters he faced, and most of those by strikeout. Nomar with number 20 this afternoon, and Nixon with a couple of base hits in this ball game also has scored a run.
What a performance by Pedro. Mariners have not had a hit since David Bell began the 3rd inning with a double. Here's Rod Beck.
258 career saves for Rod Beck, and of course 1 with the Red Sox, that coming against Kansas City in his first career American League appearance back on September 1st. Beck only had 7 saves with the Cubs, of course missing a lot of the season with bone spurs and chips removed from his right elbow. That happened back at the end of May, and he's really still building up arm strength from that. When he returned to the Cubs, he was not using the closer's role. He was using a setup role, and quite a few times they pitched 2 innings with Beck trying to build that arm back up.
Sean and Jerry, please tell my mom in Boston to send dollars for coffee. Boy, this is a great coffee town. Isn't this where, well, I don't know if we should mention chains by name. We don't want to promote any particular thing, but there's a certain very popular coffee thing that started here, didn't it?
And it's everywhere around here.
Yes, it is. Raul Ibanez. Beck going for the 10-pin early. Ibanez 1 for 3. He had the first Mariner hit. An infield single in the first on a very close play. Pedro wasn't very far away from a no-hitter through 8. The one solid hit, that double off the top of the wall by Bell. There is action in the Red Sox bullpen behind Beck. He goes to 2-0. Ball 3. And the big bats are coming up. Lowe and Garces in the bullpen. Pedro had thrown 128 pitches. And with a 4-0 lead, Williams figures it's safe to take him out. Sun shining brightly now for one of the few times today. Shadows creeping out near the plate. Beck has battled back to a full count.
One thing about Beck throughout his major league career, he throws strikes, and it's very unusual to see him walk hitters. Remember last year with the Cubs at the end of the season, he was just going on fumes.
Yes. His payoff pitch to Ibanez is ball 4. Absolutely the worst thing he could do coming into a 4-0 game. Fans with reason to cheer for one of the very few times today. Here's Ken Griffey Jr. 0 for 3. He has popped out twice and struck out. Pedro Martinez, 8 innings. He allowed no runs, 2 hits, walked 3, struck out 15. 1 shy of his career high. He threw 128 pitches. They're not holding Ibanez at first. He doesn't run on the first pitch to Griffey, and it's a strike. 82 of Pedro's 128 pitches were strikes.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. They're shifted in the infield, but Garcia-Parra is on the left side, just a couple of steps to the left side of the bag. Outfield plays Griffey to pull. A couple of times Lewis has had his glove up around his face trying to block out the sun that's now a factor. The ball high. One and one. John Cumberland, the bullpen coach, had his hat off just into the dugout that Garces and Lowe are ready. Big swing and a miss. Griffey trying to cut the Mariners' deficit in half with one swing. Now behind in the count, 1-2. step up behind the plate. Veritek makes the catch just up against the screen. Only a foot or two of room with which to work. But a big first out, and the dangerous Griffey sent back to the Mariner dugout.
A lot of these new ballparks, there's not a lot of room behind home plate. Certainly the case here at Safeco Field. Looks like this ball might have a chance to get to the screen, but not quite. Veritek getting back to the track and making the catch for the first out of the inning.
Time call for the first pitch to Alex Rodriguez, who is 0 for 3.
That is the 3:45 train going by right now.
Where does that one go?
Tacoma.
Oh, it's a short trip. Maybe we can get a train back to the hotel. Rodriguez is rounded into 12 double plays, tied with Russ Davis for the Mariner team high. Red Sox would love an inning-ending double play. Good pitch by Beck on the corner, evening the count at 1-1. A-Rod has not had a hit in the series. 0 for 7 in the 2-ball game. Red Sox lead 4-0 in the 9th. Back in a non-save situation for a pitch that closely resembled the previous one. This one called a ball.
Beck's style, when he gets in that set position there, or gets ready to pitch, he'll swing that arm back and forth.
Short. They'll have to go to first. They'll throw a good one from Garcia Parra. And the Red Sox are 1 out away from victory.
Not holding that runner on first base and loose sending him, and that's kept away from the double play. Rodriguez with the ground ball to Garcia Parra. No chance at second base. Just take the sure out at first, and now only going to get one more to complete this fine job today by the Red Sox.
Pedro Martinez. He struck out twice and walked. A strike. Beck trying to combine with Pedro Martinez on the Red Sox pitching staff's 9th shutout. Yankee pitching staff leads the league in shutouts with 10. Close but a ball. 1-1. Red Sox 4, Seattle nothing. Banya's at second with 2 outs. That's a base hit to right. Nixon fields it cleanly. Down by 4. They have to hold the runner at third. So Martinez has a hit. And the Mariners get the tying run into the on-deck circle here.
Opposite field, Martinez excellent going the other way with the baseball. Get the hands inside. Barrel of the bat above the ball, and that line drive. Not going to take any chances. Down by 4. They'll hold the base runner. Ibanez at third. So the Mariners stay alive.
That's a 7-game hit streak now for Edgar Martinez. Here's Jay Buhner, happy to see Pedro out of there. He struck out 3 times against Martinez in his 0 for 8 lifetime with 8 Ks against Pedro. Tom Lampkin is in the on-deck circle, trying to get to the plate to be the tying run. Beck throws a strike on the corner. If I recall, didn't Buhner have similarly awful numbers against Roger Clemens?
Yeah, he did.
strike pitch up and in.
Pitches that throw hard to try to do with Buhner if they get ahead is elevate that fastball, go upstairs with it.
Low and Garces ready if needed in the bullpen. Low, 2-1. Instead, it's 2-2. Buhner a strike away from striking out for the 4th time. The Red Sox, more importantly, 1 strike away now from a very important win. The 2-2 to Buhner. He struck him out, and the Red Sox win. Sox with Nomar Garcia Parra starting the scoring, shut out the Mariners 4-0 in 2 hours and 40 minutes. Red Sox with the victory go to 76-60. The Mariners see their 5-game winning streak ended, and this series is even at 1 win apiece. For Boston, 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors, and 3 men left. The Mariners, no runs, just 3 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left on base. Pedro Martinez, the major's first 20-game winner this year. Now 20-4. He wins 20 in a season for the first time in his career. Paul Abbott pitched well but took the loss, 5-2. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 40 minutes, 44,597. A sellout here at Safeco Field to watch it. And Jerry, a very important victory for the Red Sox and a vintage Pedro Martinez performance when they needed it most.
It really was. He came up big when he had to, and you know, you talked about it prior to the game, Sean, how big this was because of the last night's result, and then you got your ace out on the mound, and you hope to win the ball game, but he was just a step above everything today, just completely dominating the Seattle lineup, and it's just what the doctor ordered to get that first win on this very difficult road trip.
And perhaps gain a game in the wild card race, as Detroit and Oakland are still tied at 1, and they're now in the top of the 9th with Detroit batting in Oakland. Detroit 1, Oakland 1 in the 9th inning in Oakland. And Toronto plays tonight at Kansas City. It was an interesting day for the Red Sox offense. They couldn't do anything for the first 4 innings against Paul Abbott. He retired all 12 Red Sox hitters, but in the 5th, Nomar Garcia Parra led off with a homer, his second in as many days. That sparked a 3-run inning and proved to be all the runs the Red Sox would need for Pedro. And Nomar joins us now down on the field. Nomar, congratulations.
Thank you.
A very important win for the team. Particularly, I would guess, Nomar, so much emphasis on this road trip and the importance of it. You had kind of a controversial loss last night. To stabilize things quickly, I would imagine, was very important for you and the team.
Yeah, it was good to come back today. You know, like you said, after last night, it was pretty emotional. Everything was, you know, all the juices were flowing after yesterday and everything. You know, we had a tough game, and you know, they came back and beat us last night. And for us to come back out there, Pedro did a tremendous job, kept us in the ball game. I mean, Paul Abbott threw a tremendous game for them, and for us to come back and put some runs up, that was big for us.
And, of course, when you have Pedro working the way he did today, he just stepped it up another level. It seemed like once you guys got the 3 runs, he was just about unhittable after that.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's what's great about Pedro. I mean, when he sees that he has the lead, he goes out there and says, all right, especially that next inning, he doesn't want to give it up. He doesn't want to get them a chance to get back in the game. He feels like he has it, and that's what he did that 1 inning. He went out there and said, all right, I'm going to keep this lead, and he did that, and then he continued on after that.
Nomar, how about for you, the return of the long ball here in this series? The homer last night, another one today. You almost hit a second one last night. Any difference mechanically, or just the ball all of a sudden flying out?
Just, you know, I start swinging. You know, I've always said I've been trying, you know, I'm not trying to hit home runs. You know, when you're swinging the bat well, they're kind of a byproduct of things. So I'm just trying to swing hard, swing well, and hopefully things will come.
Nomar, thanks. Congratulations on a big win.
Thank you very much.
It's Nomar Garcia Parra, his homer, to right field in the 5th inning was the first Red Sox run and started them on their way to this crucial 4-0 victory. Back with more from Seattle in a moment.
We brought you Dodge Ram. Overall, the most powerful line of pickups on the planet. The longest lasting pickup on the road. And the first pickup with 4 doors. Now, here's what's new from the new Dodge. The Dodge Summer Clearance with a $1,000 cash allowance. Exceptionally low 1.9 financing. Or great lease rates. What's new from the new Dodge?
See your friendly New England Dodge dealer.
I don't think it's possible for Mr. Nixon to state the record in distortion of the facts with more precision than he just did.
Senator Kennedy simply doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't feel a real effort has been made.
Senator Kennedy's position and mine are completely different on this.
I always have difficulty recognizing my positions when they're stated by the Vice President.
I resent that comment.
When he's never really protested the communists seizing Cuba 90 miles off the coast of the United States.
We all have tempers. I have one. I'm sure Senator Kennedy has one.
You know, ideas and inventions come from people in all walks of life. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? If so, Invention Submission Corporation has information to help you get started. ISC is America's largest inventor service firm. Call now and learn how to submit your idea to companies through ISC's data bank and apply for a patent. Even if your idea is just to improve an existing product, call for ISC's free information.
Sox shut out the Seattle Mariners today 4-0, a combined 3-hitter for Pedro Martinez, who pitched the first 8, and Rod Beck, who worked the 9th. Pedro, the Red Sox first 20-game winner since Roger Clemens won 21 ball games back in 1990, and this was one of his best.
This was top shelf, Sean, and it's been like that since he came off the disabled list. I don't think there's any question that Pedro's going to be the Cy Young Award winner this year in the American League. He leads the league in ERA. He's going to beat everybody in strikeouts, and he comes up at games like this when you really need it. And we talked about it before the game, you know, coming to the ballpark, that this was a very, very big game because of the way things developed last night. And if you don't win the day your ace is pitching, things can snowball on you. So what a performance today.
It was. Let's take a look at the scoreboard now, update you on the ball game down in Oakland between the Athletics and Detroit. They're in the bottom of the 9th. Tied at 1, so the Red Sox for the moment have a game and a half advantage over Oakland. It'll either be 1 or 2 depending on the outcome of the Oakland-Detroit game, and Toronto is at Kansas City tonight with Pat Henkin on the mound against Jeff Suppan. So the Red Sox try to make it 2 straight wins here in Seattle as they deal the big blow to the Mariners' faint playoff hopes with today's Mariner loss. The Red Sox will have Mark Portugal on the mound tomorrow, and he'll be opposed by Freddie Garcia. Nesson has the last 2 games of this series, and we are next with you on Wednesday night. Once again, the final score of today's game, the Red Sox 4 and the Seattle Mariners 0. Our next telecast is Wednesday. It's a 4 o'clock in the afternoon start Eastern time. Pat Rapp will be on the mound for Boston in Oakland. Till then, for Jerry Remy and our entire JCS crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from Seattle. Boston Red Sox baseball has been a presentation of the JCS New England Television Network.
The Red Sox meet the New York Yankees in
Live from sold-out Yankee Stadium in New York, the JCS New England Television Network presents exclusive coverage of Boston Red Sox baseball. Tonight, Game 1 of a 3-game series between the Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us as the Red Sox begin the second half of this 12-game road trip. The first part was a success. The Red Sox were 4-2. in their stops in Seattle and Oakland. As a result, the Red Sox have crept up a little bit on the first-place New York Yankees in the American League East, and there is now talk of a possible race for the division title. The Red Sox, realistically, would need a sweep of this three-game weekend set. They're 6.5 back, 22 games remaining for Boston. The Red Sox still lead Oakland by 3 in the wild card race, which really is first and foremost on the minds of most Red Sox fans. Bad news today on the injury front. Kent Mercker is still bothered by those sore ribs. He was scheduled to start here on Sunday, but he's going to miss that start to undergo an MRI. As a result, that means Mark Portugal is back in the rotation tomorrow. He'll be matched up with Hideki Irabu after Pedro Martinez battles Andy Pettitte tonight. And Brett Saberhagen, originally slated to return to action tomorrow, will be pushed back to Sunday to take on Roger Clemens. Joined as always by Jerry Remy. Jerry, the Yankees are taking the Red Sox threat seriously.
Well, you know, I think Yankee followers are a little bit disappointed on the season. They had such a great year last year, and they've kind of cruised through this one. They're so talented, they make it look easy. But Joe Torre, I think, is a little bit concerned. They came off a road trip where they were only 3-3 against teams below 500. He had a team meeting to try to shake things up. He said, look, this thing's not won yet. We still got to go home, and we got to face Pedro Martinez in the first game of that Yankee series. The Yankees are pretty much in control of this division, but the fact is Torre trying to motivate them the rest of the season for postseason play. One other thing to watch this weekend, Nomar Garcia-Parra is back in the lineup for the Red Sox tonight. The ankle is still swollen, but he and Derek Jeter tied for that top spot in batting in the American League. It'll be fun.
Always many subplots when the Red Sox and the New York Yankees get together. The first of a three-game series coming up next as Pedro Martinez goes for win number 21 against Andy Pettitte, who's pitched very well in the second half of the season for New York. Back along the banks of the East River in just a moment. Yankee Stadium in New York, where the fans have directed their attention at the screen out in right center field as they remember the career of Catfish Hunter, the Hall of Fame pitcher, spent part of his career here with the Yankees, who died yesterday at the age of 53, victim of Lou Gehrig's disease. All weekend will fly the flags at half-mast here at Yankee Stadium.
May we ask you to share in a few moments of silent prayer as we remember Jim Catfish Hunter, who died yesterday. Jim Hunter was more than a Hall of Fame pitcher. He was a Hall of Fame human being. As a pitcher for the Oakland A's and the Yankees, his record places him among the greatest. Jim Hunter was not only endowed with extraordinary baseball skills, he was blessed with the wonderful gift of friendship. He was respected and admired by both his teammates and his opponents. Jim Hunter, dead at 53.